partija mi sudi. Neka sudi, pjevat ćemo ljudi. Ne boj se rogova ni lažnih bogova, šta nam mogu lanjski snjegovi. Ne boj se tragova ričućih hlavova, šta će crni oblak planini. Kad zapjevam partija mi sudi. Neka sudi, pjevat ćemo ljudi. Ne boj se rogova ni lažnih bogova, šta nam mogu lanjski snjegovi. Ne boj se tragova ričućih hlavova.
There's no audio issues. It was on mute. It was on mute. So don't send messages. There was no audio issue. It was on mute. You should be able to hear us now. That was only because we muted it during the intro, because if we're dropping something in the background and bagging people, then you're going to hear us. You're going to hear us, and then we're going to get belted. So welcome, episode 9. Spolj, welcome to another week.
Thanks. Well, absolutely wonderful to be back in the podroom. Dobro večer. Thanks for joining us again. Can't believe we've actually made it this far. They said we'd never make it, but we did.
That's right. I don't know the rest of the words.
No,
but
I don't
all
know.
right.
That's it.
was
I
gonna
can't
make-
even remember what the commercial was for.
Make something that said we'd never make it. Was it America's Cup or some beer or something?
Had something to do with something like
Pete, that boga što je
John
bilo.
Bertrand.
That's the one. And Ben Lexon.
That's it. Maybe it was Alexin.
Was it? It could
It was
be.
Alexin. It was just like a
Shit.
Toyota Commodore.
That's the one. Exactly
That
right.
was it.
But welcome once again. So we are now into the first day of spring. So if you like your mlada kapulica i janjetina, time is almost upon us to throw something on a raja and ispeći lipo for a weekend. But pretty big week. We're talking about before. We've got nothing to talk about, but there's been plenty that's been happening. We've prepared very little. I went for a job interview this morning, so
Wow.
Unemployment suits me, but I think marriage suits me better.
Yeah.
So I've got to keep it going. So you never know. We'll see how that all
An eviction notice suits you even less. Yeah?
that's right. How that all pans out. But yeah, what's happened over the weekend? We can say that Dandy City got their first ever win, from what I understand, against
Massive.
Dandy Thunder in an elimination final in Victoria's NPL. 1-0 away there at Dandenong Thunder.
I believe it was the first time they've actually won there at
First
George
time they've won
Andrews.
there, and I think it's 15 or 16 attempts they have yet to beat Thunder. And when do they beat them? In an elimination final, and they go through to play Avondale this weekend. So if you are around, get down to Avenger Park, I think it's called, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it Tent City, Shantytown. Get down there, support the boys from the southeast, because they look like a pretty big festa, not only in the dressing room, but I dare say something would have happened afterwards as well, either back at the club or something. There was a big Bucks night happening that weekend, so you'll be playing at the wedding, but the Bucks night took place, I think, at a factory at Noble Parkway, then off the Caulfield Racecourse, and half the boys ended up at the Dandy City game, and God knows where they ended up. Inflations, apparently. Inflations, of all places. If you're old enough, of our generation, you'll remember Inflations, where Major Minor played many times, or Grain Store probably more so than Inflations, but down there at the bottom of, what is it, King Street?
They actually time travelled.
There you go.
Inflation's back
Tommy
to
Governance telling us Sunday preliminary final versus Avondale is on Sunday at 2 p.m.
What's that,
Avenger
Sunday?
Park. Was it?
I thought it was on Saturday, but there you
Was it
go.
Saturday?
Even better on Sunday.
Just we'll double check that one before the end of the show. But this weekend, either way, jump on one of those MPL websites or scoring websites, whatever it might be, and see when that game is on. But from Tommy Governor telling us it's 2 p.m. Avenger Park.
But you think you'd know.
You think you'd know. You think Shooter McGovern would know. But in other news, if anyone was up early this morning like I was to watch the Hrvatska Nogometna Liga, we had Hajduk come away scraped in a draw, as did Dinamo. So the two top teams both scraped in literally last-minute draws and sit atop the table on 10 points apiece, only a couple of goals separating the two. What else has been happening? Just trying to think if there was any other big news.
It wasn't like that. But if you got a chance to go out to Dandy, it won't take a lot of us. 100 of us go out there and we're packed out the stadium.
Oh, we'll sell out. We'll sell out in the first 5 minutes, whatever they've organised in terms of food and stuff like that. They reckon they had 2,800 people at the Avondale-Newcastle game the other night at Adventure Park, or yesterday. Was it yesterday?
They did.
2,800. Now thinking that's record for them.
Oh,
because Avondale used to play in the Provisional League against me at Strathmore Split back in the day. How the hell they ended up in NPL and now playing Australian Championship, Pite Nesden.
Yeah, but there they are. But get out there. Look, I know when Melbourne Knights played there a couple of years ago, there was a sizable crowd there and a great atmosphere. And I'm sure that it lifted the boys. And let's lift Dandy the first time. Maybe there'll be a Croatian team in the grand final. Well, it'd be amazing. Why not?
Sydney United through to the finals as well. So they will be playing. I'm not sure if it's this weekend as well. So we'll get Jakov, who we're going to have on the show later, Jakov Rimac from Sydney, to tell us a bit. He'll probably no doubt be going to the game. They're playing Marconi. So again, one of those old school derbies against the old Italian rivals from not too far away.
And they'll outnumber the Marconi fans 9-1, I'm sure, as well, as they
course.
always have previously. But
if all the people came out of the Marconi club from the Pokies, they might outnumber everybody else by 20-1. But people like escalators and throwing a few pineapples through the Indian Dreamer.
Yeah, they're a pokies club that happens to play soccer rather than a soccer club that happens to play pokies.
That's the one. I'm just trying to check my glasses. I'm an old man now. I've got those transition lenses. Yeah. And with it's not for sunlight, it's for UV apparently. More UV than just normal sunlight. And these are UV lamps in the background. So who knows if they start going dark like Oliver Dragojevic at Split Festival 1979 good luck.
But I have the zenith of coolness.
Oh, never in doubt. But Clifton Hill, I've got a quick shout out for Clifton Hill Youth and Family Mass, Sveti Nikola Tavelic in Clifton Hill, Saturday, 5th of September. So this Saturday at 5 p.m. Bring your family, friends, everyone's welcome. Afterwards, stay for a social gathering in the hall, enjoy refreshments and connect with others. So this Saturday night, the first Saturday of every month, 5 p.m, the Youth and Family Mass is conducted out there at Clifton Hill. And then now it's starting to alternate a little bit. So it's done at Sunshine. They'll have a youth mass and at Clifton Hill. So it's good that the churches also are working together, figuring out their calendar to make sure all that is up and running.
Yeah,
Marconi.
You were talking about Strathmore Split as well, and you're saying this. The reason I've got this on is I actually went to Strathmore on Friday, and Jimmy got really upset at me for saying that I didn't receive any merchandise, even though Smoller did. So Stippo and him took me out the back, roughed me up a bit, but rewarded me with this beautiful top that she can purchase over at Strathmore Split for just a couple bob.
That's right. Don't be shy.
Yeah.
They've got them in red, white, and blue.
That's
I believe. I've got the red and the white one. You've got the blue one. So we'll have to get a third person when they come into the studio. We'll throw but we've got to make it in the right order.
Well, depending on your political affiliations, whether you're left wing or right wing, you can wear a red top, a blue top, a white one, whatever it is.
Good. Or we'll do like a pyramid. The red one can be on the top, you one in the middle, and we'll work something.
I think it's safest that I'm on the bottom, actually. So, yeah.
Just checking any other. There's always messages popping through.
But
Avondale, Dandy City, Avenger Park, Sunday, 7 September, 2 o'clock. So Tommy Governor said no need to double check Smoller, and Luca Muniverano has confirmed Sunday, 2 p.m, Avenger Park, Dandy City taking on Avondale. Look, Avondale again will be the heavy favourites, just like Dandy was, but anything is possible. I think the spirit that they showed on the weekend against Thunder, that's a tough away game, man. They're a tough crowd out there. Tough. They're very, very raucous, and
it is very tough. But it just astounds me the marketing geniuses and the times that they choose to play these games. 2 o'clock on a Sunday. It's like a juniors game or something. Like, it just makes absolutely no sense. What actually made it? I know this doesn't pertain exactly to the Croatian community, but they had 2 semi-finals for the Australia Cup this weekend, both in Victoria. And 2 of the semi-finals, preliminary finals for the NPL Victoria, playing at the same time.
Gluposti.
Absolutely insane. I don't know. I don't even know how that's possible. How can that happen? How can that happen? But anyway.
Bless her. But also, what you see what I'm wearing here, I've got the 369 Creations, probably from a while back now, but Marko Šušić does a fantastic job with all the merch that he puts out. You've got prints, you can probably get custom pictures made of your town or whatever if you want to reach out. 369 Creations as well, but this is a pretty hardcore one. I love this one. Šta Bog daj, or što Bog daj, sreća junačka, get it on ya. What else is there? And other than that, you've got the merch is out now and available for the Gold Coast tourney coming up. So you jump on their socials, you'll be able to buy all the stuff that's already out for sale. There's t-shirts, polos, jerseys, hoodies, aprons. The apron looks pretty cool. We were talking about that one last night. Bucket hats, if you've got a bucket head. And then you've also got a lot of the clubs now are releasing their tourney jerseys and t-shirts, merchandise. I've seen Gorspitch has released something. North Geelong's released something as well. So again, I'm a bit of a sucker for that. I usually go around and buy most of that stuff. But you'll also have the guys down from Munich. You've got a team from Munich coming down. They'll most likely get mugged as soon as they turn up to the hotel. If the Wednesday nights are there, they're going to get robbed, stripped naked in the middle of the street, like they did a couple of years ago when they were down here for the Gold Coast tournament as well. I saw the blokes walking around. I think they had to go to the Salvos to buy some clothes because Joe Lovrick had about 4 tracksuit tops, 6 pairs of tracksuit pants, and I think they left their boots on pretty much. That is it. So Sunday, 2 p.m, FFV Croatia, Father's Day. Well, there you go. I didn't know that, but I'm
2 o'clock on Father's Day.
I'm pretty sure that my wife and kids upstairs are just talking about what they're going to organise for Father's Day.
But they bought it months ago. They couldn't stop thinking about it. They're so excited about what they're going to get you for Father's Day, I'm sure.
Of course.
But also people talking about last week's interviews we had with Budo and Damir. Really positive feedback. That was great. Even if you've got any ideas or any people that you want us to interview, send us a shout out or send us some suggestions. We're more than happy to interview whoever, anyone that interests you. We've got a lot of people in mind and we will, but I'm sure we'll forget some people. And send us through any of your suggestions. Will be very much appreciated.
That is the one. All right. I believe we have our first guests. Rob, you want to give us a bit of an intro into our first 2 guests?
Well, our first 2 guests come from the great city of Adelaide, the city of churches. And because I do come from Adelaide, they didn't have much else to do other than come on the show. No, I'm only joking. We were actually really rapt to have them on the show. And they are sisters who are probably officially known as the Martich sisters from Adelaide, but they're no longer Martiches. But we always say, well, look, we want to give everyone a voice in the community, but especially we want to give a voice to those who actually do a lot. And these 2 sisters do a lot in spades. They do. So we're more than rapt to have them on here and have a conversation about certain topics that are very close and dear to their hearts, and also talk about them and their background. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to PodroomTV, Mrs. Monica Condon and Mrs. Belinda Fusco. Yay! Perhaps we should put them on before we put the round of applause.
Oh, there we go.
Yay, welcome to PodroomTV. Ladies, thanks for joining us. As I mentioned in the intro, you have been a part of the community since forever. And tell us a little bit how you got involved in the community, how you started off in the Adelaide Croatia community, because there are many facets of the community that you have been involved with.
Sure. You want to go? Well, I think probably from when we were really young, it was at the Old Dong. We were doing Lennox. That was probably one of our first experiences in the community. And then that kind of led into when the sports centre was built. Our family was generally really involved there from the beginning. And I think as we got older, it was just different roles. But I would say, given the conversation tonight, our biggest roles came about from our Miss Croatia roles. I did it when I was 18. And that was a really big stepping stone for me and my role within the community. And I think for Belinda, it was much the same.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, our parents are foundation members of the sports centre. I remember going when Dad was, still helping. There was plenty of building going on in over 30 years ago. I came to eventually be known as Monica's sister. That's how I started out. Depends. We joke now. It depends what context we're in. Sometimes she's my sister, but in this Croatian context, I was definitely Monica's sister. She was my introduction into the Miss Croatia world, and joining the committee, the soccer committee, that was part of the role as a miss, and, you know, supporting the club on game days and doing all the fundraising and all that kind of stuff that led to it. So, you know, from there, we've maintained our involvement, you know, well beyond our, you know, our title, I suppose. We, you know, are involved in the Festa. We had the Adelaide Croatia youth group. And we still, to this day, remain involved in a lot of that stuff as well. So, yeah, we help out in the kitchen Friday nights, and it's like a second home for us, particularly at the sports centre.
And I know you're both involved. Oh, was it just you, Monica, that was teaching at Croatian school in
Yeah.
Adelaide?
It was just
Yeah, that feels like a lifetime ago, but yeah, that did.
Don't undersell yourself. Don't undersell yourself. You've got to make sure everyone's aware of everything you do. But speaking of sisters, I know you said, oh, you're like Monica's sister, Belinda. You'll always be known as Monica's sister. I know Ian, who was president of Adelaide Croatia for a few years, he'll always be Stella's brother. So that's
See,
something that he has to deal with.
We're still there, but, you know.
But we've got these photos. If you could tell us what years were, so there's Belinda there in the photo. I'm not sure if that was the handover from the previous miss to you or you to the new miss.
That was the Canberra tournament. That was after. So I won in 2016, and that was 2017 at the Canberra tourney. So our Miss Tamika Walker there, she was runner-up. So
there you go.
Yeah.
And then we've got
Belinda's
Blast from the past, yeah.
Belinda's sister.
That was the year. So that would be
What year was that in, Monica?
2010.
Yeah.
2010.
In New Zealand.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Then you got all
Yeah.
sorts of photos. And then you got this one. This one's a two. Look at this. Mr. and Miss Universe. My goodness. Look at that.
That was a good night. We had fun.
That was the Adelaide tournament not too long ago, which was an absolute again, probably one of the benchmark tournaments. Like
it was fantastic. Every Adelaide tournament seems to be a benchmark tournament. They always take it to another level. And then the pressure's on everyone else, like, you know, to live up to that. But no one's got a facility like Adelaide Croatia does in this country. Not only in the Croatian community, but I think in football in general.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing setup, and really took a lot of forward thinking, and we're reaping the benefits of it now. But I know some of the things that you girls want to talk about, or ladies, I should say, and something that's really dear to your heart. It came up in the Viesnik a couple of months ago, which was some people are still really upset about Miss Croatia being missing from the tournament, and it's been missing now for a few years. And before anyone gets disgruntled, we're not here to, you know, point fingers or blame anyone for anything. We're just here to discuss it and discuss the merits of it possibly returning, or in some other ways. I mean, how did you feel? Or let's talk about how it happened and what some of the feedback was, and after it was actually taken away.
Look, I think in terms of the details of how that actually happened, I was on the Sarves previously, and I came on when Stella became president, and I joined with her and stayed on when committees shifted. But I think there was obviously already in the back conversations about the relevance of Miss Croatia. There were people that had opinions regarding the way it was structured, believed it was too much like a beauty pageant, and all those sorts of things, which is, I can't say I disagree with that. I do think there were elements of it that perhaps we didn't agree with either. And I think the focus was slowly pulled away from the community-based idea of what Miss Croatia was supposed to be. But I think for us, the biggest thing was when those conversations started to be had about potentially letting it go. Belinda will probably talk about this a bit more because it was something that she did after she won the title. And I don't know if you want to maybe go with that now and explain, because that might give a bit of context.
Yeah, I mean, look, seconding all of that, but we, when in 2016, when I won in Adelaide, then the 2017, I mean, it was really became quite obvious that we'd kind of strayed a little bit far away from what its original intention was. And I think that was just to highlight and really provide an opportunity for young women to be more involved in their clubs, to, you know, see what happens in the background and make sure that for cultural preservation, you know, to ensure that continued to happen. And so I wrote a proposal put forward to the Sarves in 2017 to just say, you know, there probably are a lot of changes we can make. It is a little bit outdated in its current form. You know, it's kind of lost its way. So let's have a think about what we can do to change it. And so I put some suggestions forward. I mean, it was several pages in a document that kind of just outlined my own, suggestions. Not to say that was representative of everyone and all their thoughts, but it was just a starting point to say, I think it's got value. It really should be something we sustain. And how do we do that? So, the conversation continued for a little while, but I think, eventually in 2019, we got the news. Neither of us were at the tournament, but heard that at the end of the AGM that Miss Croatia was being taken off. I guess the radar was no longer to exist in our clubs. People didn't see it as relevant anymore. And I think the disappointment really in that decision came from the fact that there was efforts put in to try to make changes for it, to make sure that it was able to stay, in the communities. And agreed, not every club did it the same way. There was so many different ways and models we could have changed to and to make it more sustainable. And it was just really disappointing that, I don't know, to us, there was no real consultation process. It kind of got taken to an AGM and that was it, and it was gone.
Yeah, I think the thing for me was when I was on the Sabres, there was there was an idea of a logo change, and there was a pretty lengthy consultation process that happened for that before the decision was made, and clubs were made aware of the process. They were given opportunities to provide feedback, and I think that's how it should be. So when the Miss Croatia discussion came up, I don't think that was given the same opportunities for those that would be directly impacted by that decision. I don't think they had a chance to really say, look, this is why we want to keep it on. I think we also would want to acknowledge Mariana Banovac, who also did a lot of work during that period in supporting this suggestion and the things that Belinda had put forward. And there obviously were frustrations there, with that dynamic. And I think a lot was ignored. I think there were a few people, in my personal opinion, a few people that made that decision and made the decision for that to go forward. And I know that it was voted in the AGM, but from my perspective, the people that were in that AGM voting weren't particularly people that had experience with Miss Croatia or that really had an understanding of the history behind it. And I think that was the most disappointing part for those of us who had been involved in it for so many years and saw like the fruits of Miss Croatia and how many wonderful women could come out of that experience. We've got like Emma Šardić in our community, who's also, a great example of where a Miss Croatia can go when they're given that opportunity to be involved, to have their voice heard. And then I think it's almost like a natural thing. Like for us, it was that way. You kind of get into the club and get involved, and then it just, I don't know, somehow you end up in all parts of the club. And I just think, given that there are some clubs that probably struggle with youth involvement, I do think that whether Miss Croatia comes back in the format of Miss Croatia or something else, I do think we need to still have something that encourages youth to get involved, learn our roots, learn everything from the people that are currently there, because one day they won't be. And of course, we want to see our communities flourish and keep growing for years to come. And our youth are the answer to that. So,
for those that don't know, at the actual tournament, when all the Miss Croatias would come together, obviously you'd have the Zabave and there'd be the vote or however it worked on who the winner was, but they'd usually be accompanied out by usually a senior player from their respective club. But the weekend itself, from what I remember, only not vaguely, but from a distance, because people like me and Rob were kept well away from from the ladies. But there was like, you'd have a limo sort of thing, or you'd go around, you do photo shoots and do visits and all sorts of things. So it was pretty looked pretty cool. And then you got to bond with the other girls as well. And that's why now you're probably close with all of them. You mentioned Mariana Banovac. She might be listening on her headphones. She's probably running a half marathon at the moment. From what I've seen, she ran like 24 Ks yesterday. But you're all still pretty close as well. But what was the weekend like when you'd actually go to the tournament, whether it was at home or interstate? What activities did you participate in on the weekend?
I think it depended on the host club and what they chose to do. So I think over the years, I know Adelaide introduced a few things with that Miss Croatia, like having a luncheon and I don't know what it was that we did.
Yeah, I remember yours in New Zealand. There was a ladies' lunch. So that was, obviously specific to the Miss Croatia girls, but then just it was always quite an intimate event. Honestly, I keep saying that since I've had children, I swear I don't remember much. So really helped the conversation. But there was always an opportunity to spend time together, and whether it be in a casual setting, more formal setting with other people, or just as a group. I mean, one of the things I remember suggesting in that proposal was that it would be a really nice opportunity to meet the girls prior to the tournament happening. It just felt like a whirlwind of a weekend, as you can imagine. I mean, I think it is a whirlwind for everyone for different reasons. And so, we would arrive at the club on a Thursday night, or when we were doing it, it was Friday night. Thursday was only kind of introduced in the last several years, but it's a really short 3 days. It's a full-on 3 days. And just some time to get to know each other is really lovely. But as a whole, but as you are right though, in terms of answering your question, there's a lot of stuff that you get to do as a group, and you do get to know that she did her Miss Croatia with 10, who is a lifelong friend of our sister. And so there are really special things that can grow from that as well. So it's not just about what you present on that weekend, it's kind of what goes beyond that.
I think one of the things that you brought up was the format, and I was one of those that actually questioned the format. And the reason I questioned the format was there was a couple of tournaments where there was some appalling behaviour, particularly at the gala. I won't go into details, but where there was booing and stuff like that, which was just completely uncalled for. And that's where I think where you said it's too much like a beauty pageant, and it was. I think that made everything question and probably accelerated the demise of the competition. But before you go into even changing the format or looking at other different things, what were some of the benefits that you previously had from Miss Croatia? And in particular, I know Adelaide Croatia and North Geelong Croatia were two clubs who really benefited from the Miss Croatia competition. How would Adelaide Croatia, for example, benefit
Well,
from
I think, when we had a lot of fundraising when we had our Miss representatives, and I know, when I did it, we did like quiz nights and raffles, and I think it was almost $20,000 that I'd raised in the year that I was running. And I think for Belinda, it was two of them, it was about 25,000. So I think, financially it was a great support for the clubs. And also it was just I think for us, it was that general interaction, getting in the kitchen with some of the older people and, them showing us how to do things. I think that in terms of finance, that was a big thing. But I also, as we'd said before, it was more about that. And it almost gave you a confidence to get involved. Sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating as a younger person to get involved. And I know for me, I was, I was only 18, so like really different person to what I am today. But I actually do think a lot of my confidence in certain parts were built within doing Miss Croatia, because it kind of does push you out of your comfort zone a bit too. And you need to do things, be around people. When you're on committees, there's decisions and there's always, there can be disagreements, and you sort of learn all sorts of skills when you're in those settings. And I think that's really beneficial for anyone that would be in that role. I don't think, for Adelaide particularly, I know we speak to Adelaide experience given that we're from there, but I don't know how many years we had where we didn't have someone represent our club. There was always someone who was willing to do it and come forward, and I think that says a lot about the club as well. I think also, we were a club who tried as best we could to nominate someone or have someone come forward at the beginning of the year. Usually we would be announced that we would have our Australia Day picnic, and if we had someone going through, then we would share that with the community, and therefore that's kind of officially when you started your work in that particular role. And so it gave you a really good chance to kind of build as Monica says, build your confidence generally, but build your confidence within that community. And therefore, when you were going to tournament, you had a lot to offer in the way that you felt, all the work that you've done as well. So, for Adelaide, it's, I think, for a long time been a really rich experience. And I think it's just, a shame that it's something that just doesn't happen anymore, or we can't happen.
Well, something that you highlighted before was how many ex-Miss Croatias, not just winners, but I suppose even participants, became lifelong contributors to the club, like yourself, like the two of you, and you brought up Emma Šarić as well, perfect examples of really strong women who are really successful and have really contributed so much to the community. Highlighting again, it's not just a beauty contest and saying, "Oh, look at me! I look the best in a I don't know, cocktail dress or whatever it is." You actually contribute, and for years and years to come. And so, I know you've had a lot of time probably to think about this in the last few years. What are some of the things that you would maybe change in the format? What's something that you would do? Would you bring it back as a Miss Croatia competition? Because I know you are a fan of bringing it back in some form or another. What sort of format would you bring it back in?
Oh, gosh, I think it's hard. I mean, we can say how we'd want to bring it back. I think the biggest thing we probably would still have to acknowledge now is that a lot of clubs were choosing girls at the very last minute to come. And I think what Belinda had put together was trying to put some guidelines in place from the very beginning so that people knew what the expectations were. And by setting those expectations, we were kind of making it a more serious thing. This isn't a pageant, and it's not, I know that they'd eliminated the crown as well. So we really tried to look at what can we do to move away from that concept and have a look at with this community focus, which I think, I feel like you should talk about this more because you wrote it out. But
if you can remember what you wrote, that is.
Fishing, and I did find it. I did have a read over it, but it was suggesting things like, even as on Gala Night, we have a Hall of Fame, which absolutely has its place, and I think it's important to acknowledge those people and all the things they do for our communities. But in the same way, if we were to have some kind of guideline, which Mariana was also involved in, and Leila, who was the 2017 winner from Canberra. So that was a small subcommittee formed after that proposal was sent in hopes to kind of reinvigorate Miss and make some changes that didn't obviously eventuate. And the conclusion was the no more Miss Croatia. But one of the things was to, really showcase what the girls do. So what the women do for their clubs at the Gala Night. So rather than just bringing them out looking nice with a sash and, again, whether that has its place or not, and it still looks the same in that way is, that there might be elements of that. But I think the most important thing is actually really telling people what these women are doing for their communities in the same way the whole Hall of Fame is. Not to put them on the same level, but I think it's worth acknowledging. There's so much work that goes into it. If you are someone who starts at the beginning of the season and really works for the club generally. And I mean, what we found too, even for a lot of the Adelaide girls, it wasn't just someone who came on board that had, never stepped foot in the club or, they always had some connection. So there was a lot of history for them too. You did it for a genuine love of the club and support of the club. And I think that should have been acknowledged. That's one big part of it too. The language around it is also really important. And, there's a limit to how much you can change every single person that sits at that Gala Night. Mm-hmm. Some people are always going to view it as a pageant or, just want to see the girls dressed up. But, I think there are changes you can make to ensure that it moves away from that, and that's an encouragement of all clubs to follow a similar format and, really connect the girls through the year and also support each other, however that may look. I mean, travel is not always possible, but there's means of doing that stuff as well. So I think it's a big conversation and there's probably a lot of people that need to be a part of it too. So we're just kind of a small part of the picture.
Yeah, back in the day, so probably before you guys were born, I remember it was split in two. So you had the Miss Croatia and you also had a Miss Charity for the year as well. So back, I think it was about 87, Broadmeadows Town Hall, Ange Balazinac won the Miss Croatia title. And I remember selling raffle tickets at Olympic Park for Bridget Mulkovic to win Miss Charity back in the day because I had a big crush on her. I was in year 7 and I gave her
you remember
a Valentine's Day card. And I remember hiding behind the security door at my parents' house. But either way, but there was the two of them, you know what I mean? So you had the one was the Miss, the other one was Miss Charity. So there was always, it was still competition. Even the one that wanted to win the Miss still wanted to win the Miss Charity as well. So they were raising money. They were doing, and there's all sorts of things. A lot of our cities have got aged care facilities or they've got pensioners clubs where people just pop down once once or twice and just pop in, say hello. And again, and then cumulatively through the year, say, okay, we weren't just turned up to a Zabava, got a sash, and we've turned up at the tournament. We've done plenty. We've worked many weeks in the kiosk, in the ticket stand, in the kitchen, whatever it might be, and make it a all-round community thing and a community contribution.
Absolutely.
Because, like Rob said, some of the Miss Croatias, I remember the one that was at Sunshine, I was emceeing, the one that was in Melbourne, Maria Jelenic, a PhD scientist, doctor, for Christ. You know what I mean? We need to lift these people as high as we can as a community, because they're the ones that are representing us out in the corporate, in the research, in wherever, And she was a Miss Croatia not all that long ago.
No, absolutely. These are these are ladies that are there that can be representative of our community. That if a mainstream news channel comes up and asks an opinion from someone, there's your representative that comes up and speaks to the masses and says and talks on or speaks on behalf of our community. Because I mean, one thing that we're all forgetting is that females are 50% of our community, and we're not highlighting. And to be fair, their contribution is probably a lot more than what men's are. I mean, even with the Hall of Fame, which is fantastic, and I'm not trying to lower that, but there'll be some guy who played football for 3 years, got paid for it as well, and hasn't been seen in the community for 30 years, and that's a Hall of Fame member. But hang on, what are we placing importance on in our community? What is it? Is it the contributors, are the ones that are still there after decades? Literally, or is it these ones that kick the football around for 2-3 years? Big deal at the end of the day.
There's certain criteria, but I think if you've had to work in the back end of any Croatian club, particularly in the kitchens and making sure that things run, I think the soccer players are important. Of course, without the soccer there are no clubs, but also without food there are no clubs. And I think there are so many of those women, and with all the love in the world, sometimes working in those spaces is personality shaping, that's for sure.
Well, in 2025, it's more than just cooking food, isn't it?
Absolutely.
There's women that are making mass contributions to the clubs and behind the scenes. Emma's a perfect example at Adelaide, Croatia, of the contribution she's making over there, both for the sports centre and the soccer club. These are the things that need to be highlighted and they need to be celebrated. Even talking about grants, we're talking about grants. Sorry to cut you off, sorry, but like weeks ago we're talking about grants. Most of the grants are coming for women's football these days.
Yeah.
And then, like, some clubs are just throwing women's football by the wayside because they're not interested in it personally. Well, and then you wonder why you're not getting anything from the government or any interest from the government. There's so many facets that a female contribution brings to the community. And now whether it's a Miss Croatia or whether it's something like that, maybe if it's Woman of the Year, I'm a huge advocate for that, and I think it's something that needs to be focused on and celebrated in our community. Full stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is where we kind of go back to that idea that if people that were involved in this were given that opportunity to speak about this more openly, because I really think, that's like I think we tried to think, it was about 43 years that Miss Croatia had been going for. That's a really long-standing tradition that, in my view, was eliminated without much thought. And I think that is something that we both really do feel passionately about, that happened in that way. We even had discussions with Adelaide when, they came back, because we'd heard different reports from the AGM of who'd voted and who didn't. And, even Adelaide had made a decision that was quite disappointing for us at that time. And, those discussions were had, and there were a lot of people that were really upset by it. And I think with reason, because, even like the Smoljan sisters here in Adelaide were so heavily involved in Miss Croatia for so many years. If you bring it up with them, their passion for it is just as much as anyone else's. But there were really people that would have done a lot to keep that going, even if, these proposals were taken further. And those conversations were had between the Savers and the clubs and the people that were involved. So I guess, what's done is done, but I don't think that that should be the end of it. I think for the way that I've seen almost like recently, I feel like a rise in young people coming back again to the churches, to the community. And it's like maybe now is a great time to start thinking about what we can do to bring something back that really keeps drawing these young people into our community.
Yeah, and that touches on, I was going to say, when you were talking about the female contribution as well, and I know we're not to kind of corner us into the, the cooking spaces or the kitchen area. But, that's a lot of how our clubs run. And the reality is, without that migration that doesn't happen now, we've got no one coming anymore. We obviously had an influx in the 90s and, just why are we not actively choosing to encourage young females and young women to maintain their involvement in the clubs? Because this, once, God bless them, some of our older ladies that are working in the kitchen and have been there for years and all their wisdom and experience aren't there anymore, it's, becomes a dying art almost. And it's really tricky. So as long as we can, why not hang on to it? And I guess that is part of that female contribution. It is 50-50 for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's definitely something, if you are listening in from the various clubs all across Australia and you will be attending the tournament, and if you are a representative of your club or will be representing your club at the Sarvez meeting, which usually takes place, I think, on the Saturday, if there's a gala before the gala, have that conversation in-house. Is it something that can be revisited? Is it something that you don't want to revisit? But definitely have that discussion amongst your committee and say, look, is it something that we wouldn't mind having a look at least exploring and seeing if there are some other formats that might work. If the previous one, obviously, for whatever reason, people chose that it wasn't working, but if there are other formats that might work, obviously we can always say they can reach out to yourselves and say, look, we've got some ideas. How about you bounce some ideas off each other? And who knows, maybe fingers crossed we can bring something back, whether it's in a different format, same format, whatever, because there is a renaissance. We are seeing a change, the wokeness. Someone put earlier that there were a couple of people on a couple of boards that found it sexist or whatever. But, it all depends on how you look. We didn't have girls walking around in bikinis and it was nice ball gowns and a sash or whatever it might have been. But whatever. We can find a format, but have those conversations amongst yourselves at your clubs after tonight's show, if you're listening in or whenever you do. And when you turn up at the tournament, maybe have a chat with some of the other clubs that might be like-minded and see, is there something that could potentially be reformed and brought back? Because I think there's a lot of people listening in tonight that would love to have it back as well. We can see from the comments that are coming through, and we've flicked it through, and there was Emma also did there, saying you're both shining examples of, where is it? Miss Croatia's being about exceptional and enduring contributions to community. And I think that's the clincher, enduring and contributors over a longer period of time. Like Spolge said, you can have a flash in the pan, but you can, well, we do have, I believe he's your cousin, Stanko Zilic. Is that right, Stan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a flash in the pan, a Melbourne Tornado. He played 1 year and he made our team of the decade. I don't know how the hell that worked. Or he did win the player of the whole season, and he moved to Melbourne Knights after that to play, basically, in NSL.
Just details.
But, but he's, again, a great bloke to have around Melbourne. You got him back in Adelaide now. Yeah, but again, if it can come back in some form, I'd love to see it. Rob would love to see it. And no doubt a lot of people out there in the community would love to see it. And as two ambassadors of trying to get it back up and running, I think you've done an absolutely wonderful job on our show tonight. And
thank you.
When you talked about ladies blossoming, there was just one thing there, and I'm sure she won't mind, but the last Miss Croatia winner was Miss Ivana Cholina. And that's something that she's spoken about a lot, that winning that competition actually brought out her confidence, and she became a different human being after it, because it just brought out that self-belief in her. But we're speaking about the Renaissance and that, getting an Adelaide perspective. We've talked to Sydney people, talked to people overseas, and I know you're both very much very religious and take your faith very, very seriously. But there's a sort of renaissance here in Melbourne happening amongst our youth and their involvement in the church and their faith. Is the same thing happening in Adelaide? Is there is it something that's being mirrored all around the country?
Yeah, well, we've obviously had Father Lorca come on. Was it
Polya?
Polya,
about 18 months.
Yeah, 18 months. Yeah. And there's definitely, I think we didn't have a priest for a few years. So I think when something goes for a little bit, you kind of appreciate it when it comes back. So I think there's a lot of movement. I think he's doing a great job. He's a young and he's relatable to a lot of people. And we, I think there is a movement. I don't know how big it is in Melbourne in terms of comparison for Adelaide, but certainly there's been a big number of people coming back to Mass, to the Croatian Mass. And it's a positive sign. It's nice to see. And I think, people appreciate having a priest that's speaking our language back in Adelaide. So yeah, it's been
Well,
great.
he's definitely a good example of that, Mr. Father Polyak, who just speaks about 7 languages or 8 languages or something. One thing that has brought to the table, which has been a great success for our community, is a bilingual mass, which happens on the first Sunday of every month. And so that's just a recognition of our changing, community, and the fact that maybe not everyone speaks Croatian, particularly the younger generations. And if that's the link they need to be there, it's a really good, step. It's been a really nice step in a new direction, but a positive one too. So yeah, making changes, but everything's a bit steady, as is the young. Sometimes they take a bit of convincing, but they're coming.
Step by step. But also one final question from my end. I'm not sure if Anthony, he might have more, but I know you're both very involved in that wonderful event which is called Festa in Adelaide. Probably or easily one of my favourite events of the year, and actually honoured to be part of it again this year. I know you're involved. Tell us a little bit about how that's going, and I know there's a few changes happening, and
we've taken a step back from Festa this year.
Okay.
We might leave that to Emma. She's
we'll hope to have Emma if she's willing and able to come onto the program.
She's popped a few comments and messages through, so I think she's available on a Monday night between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, I reckon.
Well, once the event comes closer. But I just wanted to give a little plug there to Festa, and anyone that from around the country, Melbourne and anywhere around Australia who hasn't been to Adelaide Festa, you really need to get down there because it's a fantastic event. The way it's run, it's got music, food-wise, rides for the kids,
dancing,
all sorts of wonderful things.
Give it a chance.
A wide array that join us from all different communities, not just the Croatian one. It definitely is something worth seeing. Our favourite being, my favourite, as I've emceed for a few years now, but the Ukrainians are definitely a spectacle to see. But of course we have our clubs from around the country that join us for dancing too, and Festa's always guaranteed a good time. So I think the 23rd of November this year, if to put it in the diary,
maybe PodroomTV live from the Festa.
There you go.
I'm there anyway, so I don't know.
From the Olive Garden,
exactly, because we'll probably end up in the Olive Garden sleeping there overnight. Not a state we'll be in by the end of it, but no, fantastic event. And really, I can't urge you enough to get down to Adelaide to be a part of it and see it, because it's really, really well done. The food's amazing. The people are amazing. The music's going to be amazing as well. So, get on down there and see you there. But for me, ladies, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a wonderful insight, and I think it's something that's been overdue to be talked about on a forum like ours. And I'm sure it will be talked about more often, or now with the tournament coming up closer, people will be putting in their opinions and maybe bringing up something. But like I said, we need to celebrate the female involvement in our community, whether that's Miss Croatia or beyond. I'm all for it. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you for the opportunity and the platform to share our thoughts as well. But we know we don't speak for everyone, but we are really grateful to be able to talk about it because, it's obviously had a big impact on our life and continues to do so. So it's not just us. There's a lot of fondness around Miss Croatia. So here's to hoping that with some change, it can be something that maybe looks a bit different, but is back.
Definitely. Thank you very much, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
We'll no doubt see you all soon.
Laku noć.
Laku noć. Well, there you go. Plenty of comments coming through. So I've just been putting up the comments from, I think it's from the YouTube channel, because that's what's directly linked, from what I understand, to the stream. But plenty coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that. Yeah, 2 outstanding role models with a strong sense of community who have made significant contributions to the broader Croatian community. Absolutely. Still, I agree. And I think that's the whole point. The whole point is that ladies like Belinda and Monica need to be celebrated, and there's so many more. There's so many more in every single club in the country, and we want to get to know them, a little bit more in depth, and know like what their feelings are, what their thoughts are, because I think the only thing that's going to happen from it is something positive, because it's just going to broaden our outlook on what can happen at a soccer club. It doesn't just have to be a soccer club or a football club or whatever it is, church club. you know, we have to just open up and see where we can grow. Because if we grow, well, then we're not dying, are we?
That's right. And like Belinda said, the migration is all but stopped from our perspective.
Yeah.
There might be 1 million people coming into Australia every 2 years, but very few of them are Croats. So our generation, we're not finite. What has come has come. There are now more of us than there were 20 years ago. There are more of us than there were 50 years ago. We just need to get these people back engaged and involved. That's the thing. If my parents came in 1967, 1969. Some of your parents might have come out in the 40s or in the 50s. Yeah, some of you may be generational. You might be like Bob Catter. Your Lebanese great-grandfather came here in 1898.
Yeah.
Either way, from every generation, there is offspring, and then there are usually more. If you've got a couple and they have 2 or 3 kids, and those kids have 2 or 3 kids, and it snowballs, there should be 2-3 times as many of us. But there's half as many of us attending, if not less than half. So we just need to find a way, and hopefully through this little modest podcast, we're trying to find a way to engage people that may be otherwise unengaged.
And we have to ask the question, why aren't they engaged? Why don't they want to be involved in the community? What would it be? And I would be willing to bet that one of the reasons is maybe a lack of respect for the female involvement. Because, you know, you get 20 extra ladies getting involved in any club, that's going to make a huge difference. Yeah. Absolutely. Even just coming to watch a game, 20 people makes a huge difference.
Sometimes it is, and probably in my younger days, why change something? You know, why have to bend over backwards to get people in? But you look at it now, something needs to give. It's a different generation. Our parents, you reckon our parents were happy that we'll go to discos instead of going to Zabava?
Well,
probably not.
Probably not, but they'll
this
wrap
new
that
generation
involved, though.
Yeah, or whatever you call them in interstate, we call them discos.
Still call them discos.
But for someone that says that they've never watched this and it's garbage and you're wasting your time, can we talk about the age limit for attendance to the Saturday night disco at Tawny? Asking for a friend, Rose Smolik from upstairs, wants to know if there could be a change to the age limit for the attendance to the Saturday night. It's usually the Friday night disco, Rose. Saturday night's the gala, and I'm usually at the gala, and I don't want my underage kids there to see some of the shenanigans that take place. Well, look, if it's at the Gold Coast Friday night event, will be at a nightclub. I'm assuming it's on a rooftop pool bar. I don't think they're going to be letting in 15, 16-year-olds because it's not their venue. And if it is at their venue, then you're risking your licensing if somebody walks in there, liquor license commission, police, etc., and find underage people potentially engaging in drinking or whatever else. So don't think so, Rose. But Ivan Abramovich from Sydney United versus Marconi at Marconi this Wednesday night at 7:30. So Marconi Stadium there in Fairfield, Wednesday night, 7:30. If you can get down there, support Sydney United. If you can't, jump on YouTube and watch it like most games that we are able to watch.
Matt Milicevic asking, because we were asking about who we could interview. He said we could get an interview with Bear or driving the bus on the Sunday to Avondale.
Bear or the Dandy City bus. What was the name of the bus again? Princess? Was that
I reckon might be Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
you got Stocker Neil Albert on the top with the big bows, and they go, "When my baby goes." Yeah, no.
I think you're right. I think it is Princess. I think so.
So Bear or Juresic, we may do a pre-recorded interview from inside the bus before the game, and we'll wait for the result, and we maybe do an interview after the game. You know, you got those. My name's Bero, and this is my first drink. And then at about 1 o'clock in the morning, my name's Bero. This is after he's parked the bus, obviously, because of responsible driving only. And Ante Radmanic, he actually reached out to us today via Instagram on the topic of merchandise. Have you guys considered creating your own? I was thinking about it all day today. I didn't have time. I have got a dummy mock-up of a long sleeve checkered sort of thing with the Podrum logo and stuff on it, but we'll definitely have a look. But he did mention a couple of very interesting people that we could get on the show via Instagram, and very, very much appreciate that. And we'll get on to it. The first one, definitely this week. I'll reach out to somebody because, I could say it anyway.
Yeah, say it, absolutely.
Talking about citizenship in Crow, how to get citizenship if you've tried, and I think Ante had tried in the past many years ago from what I understood in the message. But for some people, they often ring me and they go, Smolik, man, you got your citizenship. How do you get it? What do you do? What's the sort of process? We will try and reach out and get somebody from, whether it's a consul here in Melbourne or from interstate if we need to. It doesn't matter. There's consuls all over and ambassadors and whatever. But we'll try the consul here in Melbourne, Gene, his name, Petric, if he's still here. And we'll ask them about the process of getting your citizenship if you don't have it. You know, it's
Absolutely. I
Some of
think
it's
it'd be
fairly
really
basic. You know, get your birth certificate translated, you get your parents' marriage certificate, etc. If they're already citizens, makes it a bit easier. If they're not, makes it a little bit harder. And then there are other things. If you're married, you want it for your kids and all sorts of there's a bit of bureaucracy, but it can be done.
That's
And if
Croatian.
we can get the right people to tell us the right instructions, it'll just make it easier. Because that's, again, with a lot of things, if you already know how to do it, let the people know how to do it. Don't just say, oh, it's on the internet, go there and look for it yourself. And Čovjek žena se ubije looking for this rubbish and then they give up.
Yeah.
If we know how it can be done, let's tell the people how it can be done. Simple.
I think Joseph would be willing to help, but even if he isn't, there's other staff there at the consulate that would be able to help because it's in their best interest. They want people to become citizens. So they will want to come on, I think, and help out. So hopefully by next week, if not in the weeks coming up, have some information on that and make it easier for you to become a Croat officially of the Republic.
Here we go. Jure Andrea has said, must get Susana Fantov
I
and
thought
George
you were going to say
Subjak.
something. You, Andrea, said get, and it's already going.
must get Susana Fantov and George Subjak on from the Viesnik. So
Yep.
definitely someone always we've got in mind as well. And actually, here's one that I've created earlier today. So I think it might work. Let's have a look. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
If you haven't already, I know a lot of people watch it via Facebook. Let me have a look. Most people are watching it via PodroomTV on YouTube at the moment. Some watching it on my page, some on PodroomTV. But if you're a YouTube person, subscribe is probably the best way that you get in.
Yep.
It'll come up on your screen before you
share, like, and subscribe.
Exactly right. But then also there was a comment last week that I was a bit of a unit. You know, maybe it was that we'll call it. Maybe, well, actually, this 369 one doesn't make me look too shabby either. You know, and everyone had the guns out on my reel yesterday.
Just quietly, I think I make it look good,
But my wife got some secret footage and she goes, she wants to let everybody know how I got this magnificent physique. So she got some footage of me downstairs. Oh, well, there's another room just behind the pod room here where my older son's doing some gym work at the moment. And she got some secret footage of me working out last week. So let's see if that comes through. There you go. That's a bit of that's my routine. So if you wanted to save or go back and watch the podcast again, you'll see how you could get this rig looking like it is. But also there was a press conference during the week held out the steps of Parliament, I believe, or where people keep asking about audio issues. And again tonight we had some audio issues. So there was a press conference held earlier this week, and we'll just play a little snippet of that.
Don't say that because that irritates me and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that. Don't you dare say that. My family have been in this country for 140 years, right? So if you say anything like that, I have on many occasions punched blokes in the mouth.
All right, so apologies for the language there, any kids that are watching, but it does get frustrating when the audio issues do crop up. There you go. So it was pretty clear footage there. It was good footage. That's the one. But we are just, what are we now? 8:28. We see Jakov. He's been in touch. He said that he thinks he got it. He is in the podroom with Anton Posavac up there in Greystanes. Is it 2145? Represent. I'm not sure what the gang.
No, it's 2176. 2176.
Not a suburb, it's a way of life.
Yeah. I don't think Krikic is keen on seeing pics of my perm that were promised. Nobody wants to see that. I might be able to find a picture during the week. I don't know.
And someone's saying we've got a bit of product placement tonight.
Well,
as you
yeah.
can see.
Yeah,
We don't have to turn these ones the wrong way around.
We're just milking for sponsorship again.
Yeah, but we'll see if we can get Jakov on. But in the meantime, this is what Jakov looks like in AI world. Also known as the commissioner of the No Left Cornhole Association, based out of
turn.
I said no left turn in the reel, but it's actually No Left Cornhole Association, based out of Greystanes. Says waiting hosts. Let's have a look. Nema,
No.
you're not coming up, Jakov at the moment. Is there anything else you might be able to press? Because usually, like what the girls did, it just pops up in my little on the right-hand pane here, and it'll say there is someone in there. You're grayed out, and then I click the button, and you are straight in.
Did you send that same link that I sent to them?
I did. I tried and send that one again. But with why we're having Jakov on, some of you may have seen some footage from earlier this year around Anzac Day, where I was up there with my family and a number of other families from Melbourne that travelled up for the United Cup cornhole competition that was held in Greystanes. And this is the night before. This was the
it's like an Ashley Martin ad, isn't it?
What night it was, but this is after the boys had already completed a lot of the work that needed to be done. So there was ladies, there was boys, kids, there was everybody. What we were doing was putting the vinyl on the cornhole boards. Now, if anyone doesn't know what cornhole is, basically it's a wooden dusker with a hole in the top of it. It's got these two folding legs at the front end where the hole is that gives it a bit of an angle or a slant. Yeah. And you stand, I don't know how many meters back, and there's one at each side. You have a couple at one end, a couple on the other, and you throw these beanbags from a distance and you try and get in the hole. If it goes in the hole, you get 3 points. If it lands on the board, you get 1. If you miss, you get nothing. Yeah. So you get 4 bags each from end to end, and whatever it is, I think it's up to 21. So Jakov had these big vinyl stickers made, and we spent a lot of the evening doing that. And as you can see, that's the number of boards that were present on the day. So it was an absolutely massive undertaking. Not organised through any particular club. There was talk of it maybe being like at Concord because they've got some nice grounds out there that they could use, etc. But this is just done at local little suburb called Greystanes out there in Western Sydney, where Jakov and the crew, and you can see here his brother Joe doing the kupus, mixing it up on the day. And here you can see a couple of the competitors having a throw. So you stand behind the line, your Bartish, left hand, right hand, doesn't matter. Depends on what side you stand. Sometimes it's easier. There were plenty of prizes, giveaways, best jerseys, because people were encouraged to make their own jerseys. You can see the people were out. It was piss and rain over a couple of times during the day, but it made no difference. Everyone got under the marquees, and then we got back into it. And there was probably around, I think, 300 people. And Jakov was a guest of an American cornhole podcast.
Really?
Believe it or not, they saw it. They picked up on it somewhere on YouTube or whatever, and they interviewed him. They couldn't believe it. I'll try and find a snippet of it and play it in a future episode where they could not believe how much mesa was eating. Well, how much kupus, how much bread, how much just.
That's the best part of the competition, I would imagine. The cornhole part doesn't really.
That's right. But we're still waiting.
I'll be there cheering from the sidelines with
Jakov and Anton. Jakov trying to get it connected, so they're still trying. Let's just have a look if he's going to come through. But we do have a special message that came through to Jakov also. And Jakov and his wife did win the United Cup back on Anzac Day. So was there any, foul play? That's right. But we did have a special message from overseas.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Jakov. Isn't he a great guy? He's the reigning United Cup champion. Great golfer, too. Today is big day. A great day. Only 6 months to go now until the 4th annual United Cup. Save the date. Saturday, April 26. Who will be the new champion? We don't know, but we all know the commissioner is a cheater, and it's most likely staying in his hands. See you all there. Saddam Spray.
Oh, what the hell's happening here?
I don't know what's going on. It seems to be. Yeah, so it's working. So Jakov, I don't know, he's trying to still get on there. Hopefully this works, but it seems pretty difficult. But if the President of the United States can get on, I'm pretty sure he can get on too.
That's right. So we're just waiting on Jakov. Now we'll go back to the screen.
There we are.
All right. What else, Bulge, while we're waiting? last week? Good feedback from last week's show.
Absolutely, great feedback every show. I can't believe the feedback that we keep getting. Even like obviously we have no idea what we're doing and come completely ill prepared. But like I just think it's just a great example of how interested everyone is in the community, and then just how much they want to be part of it, and how intrigued, or they just want to see things happening, and as long as things are happening, there will be plenty of support out there. So
right.
we're just here to show that there are plenty of things happening, and there's great people doing it, and just to get behind them. And
I think we got him, but Nick Remington.
Oh my God, here we go.
Jakov could be one of your mates saying Jakov is not the most technical person. I think he's flattering using the word technical. Do we have the commissioner, the commish? If you've got access to your camera, Jakov, because I don't think your camera is on. We've got you. We don't have you on screen, so I don't know what's happened there in that podrum, mate. Maybe you got on the Brdo Rakia there. I can see JR. So you're definitely logged into us. If you can get the camera going, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. You got to allow access. That's one thing. Allow access to it if you can. But it should come on. Yeah. So when it comes on, it says allow access to camera and microphone. Allow it. It's not a conspiracy. No one's trying to watch you. It's not the government. It's just the only way that we can actually see you on the show. So,
all right. While we're waiting, we'll just have a. Speaking of Strathmore Split, we've got these. I think we've got him now.
Oh, here we are.
I think we might have him. Let's have a look.
Black and white.
Jakov Rimac, here he is, the commissioner. Good evening, gentlemen. We have here Jakov Rimac, the commissioner of the No Left Cornhole Association, and Antun Posovac, the previous winner of the United Cup. The
Inaugural winner.
The inaugural winner coming from what is, I think, the best podrum that I have seen in this country. Don't worry about these wineries and all this bullshit. In a private property, have a look at that. It's in stone. It's not on fence palings from Facebook Marketplace from Ringwood. This is set in stone. Look at that. What's that vino in the back now? What's that? A rack of wine?
I got these fence palings, boys.
You got the stone?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
We can hear you. We can hear you. So, Jakov, tell us a little bit, about how did you start playing cornhole, and how did it get so big up there in Greystanes that you now get 300 people turning up on Anzac Day weekend or whatever and participating in what was one of the most fun things that I've ever been a part of?
I heard about it on a podcast, and unfortunately, I'm too old and fat to play soccer. I've got no time for golf anymore, and this sport allows me to drink beer and smoke cigarettes while I play. So, perfect for me.
Oh, perfect. Well, pretty much that's what they do in golf as well, but it involved walking.
Exactly. Too much strain on my body.
There you go. So it started off pretty. Look, I was up one. Was it Australia Day or something? We were up in Nambucca Heads.
Yeah, you won the first ever organised official tournament, the Nambucca Challenge.
That's right. We won that in our. Everyone had to wear Hawaiian shirts. I remember it was raining. It was blutto. It was unreal. And then from that, it's grown into what about 48 teams? Was it 48 teams this past Anzac Day?
48 teams, husband and wife couples. We had about 300 people there. It's basically friends, family, Greystanesians. Whoever my kids want there, they run the show. And then about 150 kilos of mess, or 750 bread rolls. There's potatoes being peeled, which you did not do. I remember that. Kupus, you name it. It's just grown every year, little by little. Basically, my kids are in charge of the invite list, to be honest.
So out of the 48 couples that played this year, how many ended up in divorce?
Maybe Adam and Susie, because Adam is a big cut that he didn't win, to be honest.
Be competitive, you reckon?
Yeah, very competitive. He's still upset. I have the trophy mounted above my TV out in the back pergola, and every time he comes over, he looks up there and he's got a sad look on his face.
So Antun gave you back the inaugural trophy, because we were a little bit worried when I was at his podrum not that long ago and we saw it sitting just there behind where you are, that he wasn't maybe going to give it back.
Just barely. I had to. He came with guards and all. They took it away from him. As long as it stays in Greystanes, I'm happy. It's all good.
Great. And tell us a little bit about Greystanes. Well, we had a couple of people from Greystanes at my joint last night. So my brother-in-law, Tom Abramovich and Anita, were down here over the weekend for my mother-in-law's 80th.
Happy birthday.
There you go, Ivka. She might even hear. She's just outside the door there next door. But Greystanes, that place, anywhere you throw a rock in any direction, and you'll either hit a Rimac, a Jugovic, an Abramovich, or who else is out there? Maybe a Babic. If you're lucky, you might hit a Babic. But, there are just crows everywhere in that suburb.
It is. It's a nice thing for our kids to have so many kids around. During COVID, our kids never had more fun in their life. It was soccer games every day. You know, us Croatians, we don't really follow regulations and laws and things like that. It's an amazing place to live. And you've been to the picnic. I'd say 80% of those people that are there live in the council area.
Right. So there's plenty of Remacs. I know there's 3 of you brothers, and you've got the other Remacs, and you've got and there's Anton sitting there as well. Congratulations, Anton and Lucy. You're expecting, is it your 6th child?
Yes. No.
And your brother-in-law Joe and Diana have 5. So
Five.
Sister Diana has 5. And Maria, who we interviewed, brother-in-law Ivica Kovac not too long ago from Zagreb, they have 7.
That's correct. That's
it. Between the 3 sisters, there are, if I calculate right, 7, 6, and 5, 18 kids.
They don't own a TV in their houses, apparently.
I don't think there's a TV anywhere in Greystanes. It looks
Well,
like.
as you say, we're not very good with technology. No. We're good with it, actually, that's for sure. No, we know that.
Where is Greystanes for those of us who have zero idea?
Close to Parramatta, we're the heart of Sydney. Close to Parramatta.
Is that near the Boston Club or something around there?
About 25 minutes that way, about 15, 20 minutes to King Tom, 15, 20 minutes to Concord. We're in the centre, right in the centre of Sydney.
Greystanes is, don't worry about the club. Greystanes is real life Boston.
Yeah.
I'd compare it to, I've travelled around Boston a fair bit. I'd compare it to Yates.
Yeah. Plenty of kids in here.
But also, you're quite involved. I see you commentate. I listened to your commentary on Saturday morning. There was a Sydney United girls team playing out there at, what was it, Moorebank or something like that?
Yeah, out Moorebank, yeah. My niece was playing, and Antonia, your niece, was unfortunately couldn't play in the grand final. And Antonia is my little favourite, so she asked me to stream the game for her, so I did. And once the camera's on, I forget it's there. And forgive me for my language and smoking and the rakia shots on the sidelines.
I tell you what, if MPL Victoria could get you on as a commentator, because some of the commentators we've got down here, other than Tonchi Prusats, of course, who runs Dinamo TV and commentates a lot of games, you'd be a shoo-in. You could walk straight in and commentate any game in Victoria you wanted with your skills and expertise that I saw and listened to on Saturday morning. But it was great. You streamed games live. I've seen not too long ago. Also, it was down where the United Juniors train. You had some massive barbecue down there.
Yes. I've got things like this in my head. I don't know. If I don't do things, the demons come and I do bad things. So may as well put it to good use. So I've got a good crew of blokes who, when I ask like this United Cup and things, I can't do it on my own. But if I ask people, which all people need to do, everyone's willing to help, but nobody asks. So we had an idea to buy some of those cameras like that to stream the games for the kids. Kids love to post that shit on social media. I thought, let's have a barbie, try to raise some money, buy some cameras. We had a barbie. Anton and Joe made, 90 litres of cabanas. There was 10 boxes of kebab. The Jenny were making burek. My Jenny made burek from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Just donate to the club. We ended up raising $6,500 that night.
And that was a weeknight.
Thursday night, training night at Valenti. Thursday night, there's not 4 square metres of turf that's not being played on. There's so many teams down there, and perfect night to have it. It was school holidays, so kids can stay up a bit later. The boys, the Sydney Sriracha came down and played for a bit. The rakia was flowing, a few beers, this, that, the other. It was a great night, top night. We plan on a few more next year.
Is young Mate Rimac, is he currently in Crow? Because a clip came up today
No,
where he was. There was a clip that he was looked like he was in Kossin playing with another group.
No, that was at Bubbich's backyard for his son's 10th birthday. We had a bit of a Great Stains festa last night. That was Great Stains again. That's Great Stains for you.
When was that? Last night?
Last night, yeah, last night. I was a bit dusty today, I can tell you that now.
Well, there you go, because he was in Donji Kossin, and I'm going, Jesus Christ, he's playing the guitar or a tamburica there with the. And I go, hang on a second, I think there's AJ in there, and there's a few others. I go, is everyone in Kossin? I go, but why not? But Anton, your father-in-law, is he overseas at the moment?
He is, yes. Yeah, they're back in 2 weeks, I think. But yeah, they've been there for about 3 months now. So yeah, they're enjoying it, of course.
Against doctor's orders?
Doctor's orders, that's it. Doctor's orders. Yeah, he needed it, mate. Yeah. He gets in trouble here. Over there, he sits and stays safe. So, Nick Kusheva.
And what about for next year? Next year. So the date has now come out for the United Cup.
It's always Anzac Day. Anzac Day is the one public holiday where that's why we picked that. It all started in this right here. We just figured all this out. Great ideas happen in this podroom. Anzac Day, no one has a plan. So we figured that's a great time to do something like this because no one really has anything on. And then it just grows every year, little by little. We have to keep a lid on it because we're not any club. We're in a local park, but we treat it like our own place. You walk to that park the next day, it's pristine. Like, we look after the place. We don't want any trouble, so we don't want to go too big. But every year, another 50 people turn up and, well, like I said, it's what my kids want. They've already given me the new invite list. There's people already attached to coming next year. So little by little, we get bigger. And we've got
you reckon there'll be more, or we can say if you happen to find yourself around the area from interstate at least. So we'll try and keep a lid on it. But if you're from interstate and you want to come down and see, because I know that it did pop up not this year, the year before on one of the local Greystanes Facebook pages. The neighbours said, well, what the hell's going on? There's a squeeze box and there's guys cooking some kind of long rissoles on a barbecue and they're singing and carrying on down there. She goes, how do we get an invite to this? So it's not like there's about the noise. There's people that actually want to get down and join in.
Yeah, but it's you have to be Croatian, number one. Oh, there's a couple of exceptions we allow, but our friend Adam is more Croatian than most people.
He's a good man. You've got to be at least a good person.
Yeah, we will accept a few. Look, like I said, you've got to keep a bit of a lid on it because we don't want to go too crazy. We don't want no trouble. We don't like to have any trouble, but we've got a few of our own who can make a bit of trouble, but we keep a lid on them. You've been there, mate. It's a great day. It's honestly, people come to me all through my social media messages. Everyone that's there, they see a cornhole video on Facebook, they send it to me straight away. And I'm like, enough. I've seen all these things. Please, enough. But whatever, part of the job. And at one point, I was like, oh, this is too much work. But I don't think I'll ever be allowed to stop this because people won't let me. Like, the kids won't let me. No one will let me stop it. So it's long may it continue. We raised $4,500 for charity this year for Summerhill Church, 1,600, and multiple sclerosis charities. We raised $2,500, something like that. So that's the first year we've done a raffle and decided that. So we're going to keep going. Like, maybe 10 years' time, we may have raised $50,000 out of nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's also,
I was just going to ask, like, all your great ideas that you reckon come out of the podroom, has that got anything to do with the performance enhancers you got in the Butch Fair there?
Stop.
and that's not actually, no doubt.
is that a Brdo product?
No, it's not. It's
West Greystanes. West Greystanes.
East Greystanes wins cornhole titles. West Greystanes makes the chain.
So they're good for something. But tell us about the podcast that you were on in America. How did that come about when they called you?
That's what I heard. It's not a cornhole, but it's just a comedy podcast that I listen to, and that's where I got the idea. And then I just posted to their Facebook group, just showed them how we do it. And one fella there is from Texas, where they have a lot of cornhole tournaments. He goes, he saw the videos. He goes, this is better than anything I've ever seen in my life. So next year, the plan is maybe a bit of merch with the United Cup logo, and on the back maybe say better than Texas.
you go. And that's when I said that we all had, or we were all encouraged to make jerseys. So Rose and I wore the Hrvatski Cornhole Club de Beljak jerseys with the United Cup logo on the front. You can see there, chair, look, only the best, mate. Champion Sportswear, Hrvatski Cornhole Club de Beljak with the glug on it. So we didn't win first prize, but that's all right. Next year we're going to come back bigger and better.
Joe, that's wrong.
Yeah, okay.
I've got my niece to pick because I don't like to be. As you can
It's
see,
corrupt enough.
as you can see, I'm a cheater. I'm corrupt. Everyone, but I lean into it. I love it. Why not? Why not? So I allow everyone else to do this. So my niece chose the winner. All I told her was she can't choose me because she said, "Well, you're the best."
You are currently wearing your jersey from this year and also your medal.
And I got my medal. And
I've got the inaugural medal.
And here, this is the trophy. St. Vinny's shop. The teapot. The people Babbage found on site. And you got your name on there. I haven't put mine on there yet, but I'll probably do it the week before the tournament. I can tell you now, after we won this year, many beers were drunk out of this thing.
I was going to ask, why not get Jasper instead of the teapot?
Yeah, they're good stuff. And what was it? Well, there was one more thing I was going to ask. Oh, Sydney United, so it's Wednesday, so it's in a couple of days.
Yes.
You going down to the game? You expecting a fair few numbers to turn up down there to Marconi?
Of course, trainings. The young fellas have training generally on Wednesdays, but it's been changed. Shout out to the under 11s Sydney United. They're upstairs. Good luck in the grand final this weekend. You got these boys. That's changed. So yeah, I don't really like to go to the Palace but we'll make an appearance this week. I think we can get it.
They can do a bit of an upset like what Dandy City did down here in Melbourne over the weekend. United could probably, they finished sixth, didn't they? So what did Marconi finish? Second, third?
Yeah.
United's on a roll, that's for sure. How many games now in a row?
8.
I missed that one, but anyway.
Unbeaten in 8 games.
8 games. I mean, that's amazing. So on an absolute roll, you can't ask for better than that. But tell us a bit about Sydney anyway. What's the atmosphere like in Sydney in general? Like you said, you're 20 minutes away from King Tom, you're 20 minutes away from Boston Club, and 15 minutes away from Concord or whatever it was. How's it all going down there? Well,
It's vibrant. It's really good. It's actually really good.
I see
everywhere you turn.
I see a rise in. I was actually commented to someone at the game on Sunday, the last against Olympic when we qualified. I was sitting behind the goals in our usual spot. Small's been there with us, and I looked around, and it was filled with young teenage kids, which is look. I love it. I really see a change in the community. Something's happening. Young kids are interested in everything. They want to be involved. And it's our job as parents to our childhood was protest, blah blah blah, protest in a city, drive to Canberra, protest, like what do we want? Freedom, but they don't have that life. So we have to do something for them so they're together every weekend. I think it's important. So I can see a change in the community. Everyone's come together now much more.
And it's all facets as well. So you have
Music,
church, soccer,
dancing,
it's
cornhole.
And your kids are at Braća Radić?
Correct. One of mine's at Linjo.
My current 5 are at Braća Radić, yeah.
And did any of you come down here for the Folklore Festival?
Yeah, I was down there with the kids, yes. Except the oldest he was in New Zealand dancing with Bukovac. So
okay.
Yeah, but it was great. It was phenomenal. It was something like it was to me better than any tourney I've been to, soccer tourney. It was phenomenal. The family vibe, the sort of Zaba bar. Rob, you were phenomenal. You boys were phenomenal on stage. It was great. It was really a great weekend.
But everything, I mean, from the concert in the afternoon to everything, everyone getting together, it was an amazing thing. Like you said, everyone coming from all parts of the country, and we're all on the same page. Every single one of us on the same page, wanting the same thing, having the same goals. It's really like brotherhood coming together, or sisterhood. It's like people you've maybe even never met before, but it's like a long lost cousin, isn't it?
It was great. It was really. He's put on a great show. We've got something to live up to. We've really got to try really hard. 27, I think we're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really, really good. It was better than any soccer tournament. That's all I can say. Like they've been great soccer tournaments, but this was phenomenal. Family-wise, it's just so family-orientated, but so much fun as well.
So we've got this one character here, Jakov Rimac, saying that Jakov and Anton mangled.
Not how you going to see Borja last night, mate. Hey,
Taking secrets away. Hey.
I'm allowed.
There you go. And Rose is saying that Rob Major Minor need to play at the next cornhole tournament.
Well, I can guarantee I can come down with my cajon and draw on my thing. But,
Well,
and,
actually, I wanted to mention actually the plans are my cousin Mick is the president of the Concord Club. But looking like there is going to be in February, I'm going to organise some sort of like a day, cornhole day, some way to attract people to the club. Plans are underway. I'm sure I'll send you the details if you can post it out there. But we want to try and do something to bring more people to. I'm sure out of the 300 people that come to the picnic, we'll get at least 200 of ours there. And then you never know who wanders in off the street, and we'll try and maybe raise some money for charity or something like that. Have a bit of a fun day.
You also talked about like people are coming out to soccer. It's all packed there with teenagers. We know Boston Club, they're on the verge like to probably selling because why wouldn't you? It's worth like $3 billion at the moment. But now Concord's come there, and you said your cousin's the president over there. I haven't had the pleasure of being there, but everyone that's come back from there has just been blown away by how's it all going over at Concord as well.
Look, I don't know the particulars too much. I don't like to stress him out because I know he cops a lot of, like, being the president, people just come up to him and, there's not enough toilet paper in the toilets. Like, many rubbish stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to stress him out when we're at a family barbecue. But I don't know. It seems to be going good. There's a lot of events happening there. They've got their poker tournaments going on during the week and the fishermen's nights on a Friday and Laganini sessions for the kids on Sundays and things like that. Look, as far as I know, but we need more people to go there, fuel the club, spend some money, get down there and support the club.
Yeah, but talking about music, at the end of the cornhole tournament, the young boys came down with their tambure and their squeeze box and entertained everyone well into the night. I think there was only a couple of lights left on in the park there. And my brother-in-law,
the same boys that were at the folklore festival.
That's them.
Yeah, okay.
They play tourneys. They go. Hopefully, they come to the tourney this year in Gold Coast, possibly. But but then at the end of all the festivities, after all the presentations, but also I forgot to mention there was a tennis tournament for the kids on the day as well. So they organise their own tennis tournament just over a couple of 100 metres away.
What's that called again?
It's actually here. You probably can't see it. Maybe I can leave it in. They've got their own logo, everything here. The Greystones Open, their own tournament. Actually, the boys that won it won it 2 years in a row. I think it is.
Yeah,
Sam and Anthony Schulter. Yeah, they won it 2 years in a row. And even the little kids, our boys, they're trying to kick off a little. Because the tennis tournament is only from 13 and up. They don't allow the little kids. So the little younger ones are trying to organise their own soccer tournament now. So, look, it runs in the family. It runs in the blood, these kids. You live in Greystones, it's the way of life. What do you say? 2145, it's the way of life.
Represent. But we definitely need to get the boys on. I've been speaking with Marta earlier on before we started the podcast to get them on live on one Monday night to play us a couple of tunes.
Today would have been perfect for that.
There you go. But we'll get them on, eh? The pod was always open, mate. I reckon we get them in one night and rip a few tunes.
I reckon too.
What do you got hanging there in the back there, Anton? I'm looking at a few things. Have you got a fine Drniški pršut like mine? Or?
No, hey, pršut. We've been watching the stream. Is that a real pršut hanging or is that a picture?
It's hollow as you like, mate. Nice acrylic. I'll bring you a slice up.
He was right. I said it was real. He was right.
Wait, Carl acknowledged you out there, didn't he?
I've got the same ones up here, mate. Timu, fala bogu.
It was a couple of episodes ago. I almost started eating it though. The kind of state I was in.
Mate, yeah. But boys, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Absolute pleasure. Two characters of the Greystones Croatian community up there, and you're doing great things, mate. And if you're up around there, Anzac Day next year, then why
Drop
not?
the
pop down?
Coachella. You got my name now. Find me on Facebook. Ask the question.
That's the one. And what was I going to say? What's the name of the reserve there?
Greystone Sports Ground. But we're going to rename it to Brudel Park soon.
Brudel Park. And what is Brudel? Though I've seen some
Brudel
products.
is, Brudel is a logo that I just came up with. So when we make our kielbasa and whenever we do, like I said, I always like to make some sort of crap up. Brudel stands for Jakov Rimac's disorganization.
Yeah.
Come in the back.
Lele, tell him what you wanted before when we were calling you guys. Lele, tell him.
He's our grand final duo. And wish him all luck for Saturday. We're going to play Lele. And Lele,
What's the grand final? What's the game? What's the age group? Who are the teams involved?
The name United Cup.
And there's Lele. He was at the Folklore Festival in Melbourne, up on the stage with the fake rakia, and he was doing the old taking swigs. It was great to see. Mate.
Fake? Are you sure it's fake?
Oh, but I bloody hope so, because otherwise, at St Kilda Town Hall or whatever, he's going to lose our liquor license if it wasn't.
So give yourself a plug. What's the grand final you're in? What are the teams?
What's your team? What's your team?
Sydney United.
Under 11. 8:45 Island Park. I'm sure there'll be a stream on YouTube. Find my name.
And who are you playing?
Moorebank. So.
Moorebank Sports Club.
Just shit.
Already, Seb Abramovich is saying they've already yapped about it, so he's saying they've already. He must be back. He's got a bit of attitude since he's come down to Melbourne now. He's come back up there and he's brought some of that attitude back with him. But plenty of Rimsi are commenting. You've got Renato 22145 represent. Mate saying, let me know when you need us. So I will let him know definitely. Now, Primats, or we've got here Primats. I'm not sure which one of the Rimsi are, but I reckon the bigger Kobasic now, the turnover is bigger since it's probably as big as when Marta Rimac took over Bugatti, apparently. So,
we make 200 kilos of kielbasa this year.
200 kilos, Samo. It's piss week.
Yeah, this week. Yeah.
You know how many of these push-ups I've got?
One.
Mate, this shit is not biodegradable, mate. This is.
Well, legend has it that Martin Rimac actually offered 200 kilos of kielbasa when he purchased Bugatti, but yes,
and the kids are robbing you now of all your mesa.
Yeah, go for it now. Yeah,
they can drink better if they eat those peanuts.
They don't realise it's also fake.
Desi, thank you very much. Kids, thanks for joining in. Give us a big, I don't know, a United chant or a United Cup chant, whatever you want to do.
No, give us Sydney Croatia. Sydney Croatia. They're nervous now.
2, 1, 4, 5.
Just do it. Simple one. Go Croatia.
Hey guys.
80.
We've got Toma Kovac has sent a positive from Zagreb. And also in news this week, from what we have seen, is that Goran Kovac, who we had on the show not too long ago, has gone into the priesthood. Is that right?
He's going to the seminary. Yes.
I didn't know that. Goran Kovac, #1 worker I've ever had in my life, Goran. Except those couple of scratches on my van. I don't know. You didn't tell me, but it's okay. I'll forgive you.
So Goran Kovac, maybe we can get him back to Summerhill or one of those local Jupe, maybe here in Melbourne. Who knows? One day we can. It'll be fantastic to have one of our locals in the priesthood and come back and slujit the Zajednica here in Australia. It'll be absolutely fantastic. Most likely he'll stay there, but it's great to see. And we've got Nick Rimac here as well. Positive to the boys from Nick Rimac, also known as Nick Rimington.
Martin Rimac's asking for him to come back to Oz, Toma. And Tony Grigish saying Maryland's road And Bolaro
Boulevard.
Boulevard. Yeah,
Is that near you guys?
Correct. Across is that where? Anyway, yeah, somewhere around here. Just shout out Rimac, you'll find one of us there. We're everywhere.
All right, Dečki, Ljudi, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Our viewers, before you came on, our viewers were a certain number that have actually grown. Our viewership, I can see at the top of the screen, has actually gone up, and that's probably because Jakov did pop out a reel or shared one of the reels on his social media. So looks like all the Sydney people have jumped on board. Sam Kuro, one more last one before we go. Go under 11s this weekend. Do our club proud after last weekend's heartache. So Sam Kuro's more than the under 17s. They lost on penalties.
Yeah, well, Sam. Well done, Sam. Played so well. Well done, Sammy. We're proud of you.
Fantastic. Dečki, keep enjoying the mezza and
they're making me hungry just watching.
And the local product here from West.
Anytime Dodgy or Greystanes will feed you.
All right. And you see, I haven't skipped my meal, but for sure, I'll take you up on that.
No worries. Come to the United Cup next year, Rob.
I've done worse things in my life, I can assure you. So you never know.
You never know.
Yeah, if we're still married, then we will participate in the competition.
I will be.
Otherwise, we'll just come as two single blokes to watch the Taburashi at the end of the night. Boys, hvala, pozdrav svima. Antone, good luck with the family and everybody there in Greystanes and everyone up in Sydney that knows these guys. Hvala vam for viewing and thanks for joining us tonight, Dečki.
No worries, see ya.
All the best, thank you.
Bye.
There you go. Jakov Rimac and Anton Posavac from Anton's Podroom there in...
From one Podroom to another.
Exactly right. And that was the inspiration. That is one of the best Podrooms I've seen. Even overseas, I've been to a lot of Konobe Podrooms, etc. But what Anton has managed to do there, and you can see the kids just love being down there as well. There's a TV down there. There's everything. You know, that's when I go, mate, you know what? I go, if I can pull off something, I've got a bit of space under the house. And as soon as I got back from his Podroom, that first Monday, the first thing I did was on Facebook looking for how the hell can I fix and do this up. And I'll tell you what, I had no trades.
It's got a similar ceiling, doesn't it? And that's I noticed that straight away.
The fence palings on the roof of mine are fence palings all the way around because stone is a bit expensive when you're unemployed. We may do a renovation now with MC Labour.
We've got all these sponsors coming in now.
Maybe MC Labour, like what they do in Crow, when 2 trucks or 3 concrete trucks are heading to a work site in Crow, then one of the local Hudders officials sends 2 of them to betonirat his driveway and 1 goes to concrete the road. So maybe I can get some stone.
You never know.
But
I reckon it's actually the setting that's the reason why we spend so much time in here. We actually got fuck all to talk about. You just go like, we want to hang out in the Podroom just like they do. But
exactly right. Let's have a look for any more chats that are coming through. There's been plenty tonight and there's a lot of Rimsi in Australia and they are from there around Livno. Anyone that knows the Rimacs.
Is Tom? I didn't even ask. Is Tom Rimac a relative?
They are distant relatives, yes.
Okay.
Tom with all the Rimacs up there. So you've got Borz, Joe, and Jakov, 3 brothers. Then you've got Mio, Pete, and Tony, cousins of theirs. So Mio is the president now at Concord, and you've got Tom Rimac down here as well that many of you might know in Melbourne, and Petar Finka. That was awesome. Bravo, boys. Another Sydney boy shouting out to the Sydney boys. But Petar, hope to meet you if you are, like we said, down in Melbourne. Next Sunday is the Crow Cup out at the Melbourne Knights. So the juniors or the mini Roos
that is next week.
Crow Cup, which will be taking place down there at Summer Street at Tomset Stadium between, I think it's under 7s to under 12s, 13, something like that. And it's Knights, Dinamo, Strathmore, Dandy, North Geelong are all represented. And it's usually a massive day. Yeah, it's whichever club hosts it, it's a huge day, turnover of people all day going through. They'll have the last man standing raffle as well. But I did also
huge in itself as well.
Oh, it's massive, man. And if we're in spring, it'll be the second week of spring, or already 2 weeks in. It's already in the low 20s this weekend. Hopefully by next weekend the rain clears and we get some fantastic weather there and get down to Melbourne Knights.
We live in Melbourne. We can't be too hopeful, but
exactly,
you never know. But even if it's pissing down, come down. It's going to be huge.
Even if you don't have kids or any kids that you know or people that you know that might be playing or participating, get down there because it's an event more so than the sea. The soccer's one thing, but it's an event. You're there to catch up. Soccer season's basically finished. for most people, and you might be a bit exhausted. There might be some fatigue, but the Crow Cup, there's one usually there's a pre-season cup. There's one at the end of the season. This time it's at the Knights. Get down there. The last man standing raffle will be called as well. It'll be a great day out. But also the Melbourne Knights, a big one for the Melbourne Knights. So like most of the NPL teams, and the Miniroos have got one more week of games to go.
Yep.
Then we've got the Crow Cup. The NPL is pretty much wrapped up for the year. But the Melbourne Knights under 17s, I was at their game last Sunday.
Yep.
They played against St Albans Dynamo.
Yep.
So it was 3rd versus 6th, and they got up. And Melbourne Knights ended up winning that one. They went to North Geelong this past weekend. North Geelong finished 1st. Knights finished 6th, and they ended up beating them 3-2. So the Knights under 17s will be playing in their final this Sunday. I can't tell you the exact time, whether it's in the afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock, but it is at the home of the Matildas here in Bundoora, which is only 5 minutes from my joint. So if you're not going to the Dandy City game and you're around here, especially in the northern suburbs, and you want to get down and support a local club, Melbourne Knights under 17s are playing in their grand final, I think, against Ballarat, here at the home of the Matildas in Bundoora at Latrobe Uni. It will be good to get down there and support the boys as well. But
David, you know what? David Mlikota, I know he's been very inspired by the cornhole tournament there, that he wants to bring it down here to Melbourne. I think that might rest on your shoulders, though.
Oh, yes, definitely. But sorry, Peter Finger just said, see you there. So he'll be at the Crow Cup. Sons of Sali gift for the Podrum will be coming with him.
Okay.
Yeah, but Dave Mlikota, yes, our old friend Dave, where is he? Need a cornhole tourney in Melbourne. Now, I have spoken to a couple of people.
Oh, here we go.
The traps.
Okay.
Peter Pavlinošić and even Marko Butorac, who was with us last week, have mentioned that they've played cornhole when they go camping up at the Murray, etc.
Okay.
And is there a way that we could possibly do something down here? I think we could now start a northern and a southern division.
Wow.
The United Cup up north, and we can call it something else down here. And if we can organise anything like what they do in Sydney, look, it takes a bit of work. It started off very slow at a weekend away at Nambucca Heads at some holiday caravan park. Yeah. A few just cabins of people playing cornhole. Now it's 48 couples, 300 people turning up, 180 kilos of mess. So just 750 rolls, raised $4,500 for charity and tennis tournaments and all sorts of things. But I think it is something that we could definitely start thinking about and organising. It would be all right. Now, Tony Goodrich is saying, explain what cornhole is.
I thought you just did for about 10 minutes.
It's a dusker. Antone, it is a board. I don't know what it is, about 1 metre by half a metre or 1.5 metres or whatever it is. It sits on a bit of a tilt, right? So you've got these 2 legs at the back that fold out, and it sits on a bit of an angle. You stand at the other end, so there's one board at each end, and you've got 2 people at one end, 2 people at the other, or 1 and 1, and you throw these little square bean bags. And you try
like those ones we used to have at primary school.
Like those ones we had at primary school, and we used
yeah.
to do those bloody races and whatever bullshit was that they made us do. Some of the bat tennis and rounders.
Yes,
some of these sports that have become extinct. No wonder people are protesting in Melbourne. We don't play rounders at school anymore. Yeah, but like the rounders and down ball and Foursquare. Remember Foursquare?
I do remember Foursquare. Surely they still got Foursquare.
No, I don't even know, man. I don't know. Hopscotch, nothing. But it's basically, you can see there, you're measured between the 2 boards, 2 people at one end, 2 people at the other. You're each given 4 coloured bags. So you've got 4 blue bags, 4 red bags, and you try and barts it into the hole.
Yeah, right.
Pretty simple game. Yeah. It's better than butcher. It's better than briscola. It's better than soccer. It is the greatest fat man sport you can ever. Like Jakov said, you can drink, you can smoke, you can do whatever. You can shderat, you can have a roll in one hand and butts up this bag in the other.
That sounds like a sport for me.
Ball goes in the hole, 3 points. The bag goes in the hole, 3 points. Lands on the board, 1 point. You can knock another person's bag off, like in butcher.
Yep.
Or if you've got one right near the hole and you throw another one and it pushes it in, you get 3 points for that one that goes in. And it's
just okay.
It's a pretty simple, basic game. That's why they Texas. We fight, we shoot guns, we play cornhole. And you can see Jakov here. So he's got the technique. So you bend one knee. It is a little bit slippery on the board depending on what it's made out of. So we had these vinyl stickers, I can't get that photo up, Rose, unfortunately, but we do have a photo. I'll put it up next week of Rose and I in the Blutto at Nambucca Heads after the first ever cornhole championship that we had up there. But it's a pretty basic game, good fun. Anyone can play. It doesn't matter. You can be An athlete, not an athlete, it does get heated if you're a very competitive person and your partner, whether you're married or not, is not a competitive person. It can get quite heated and like in Brishkole. Here we go. Dave's saying it's 2 foot by 4 foot, 6-inch hole. Eto.
Okay.
So if you want to do it in the old imperial measurements, 2 foot by 4 foot, 6-inch hole. I've got 4 boards here, so you could do 2 versions. I think other people might have them. I reckon we can get them all together and we could organise some sort of, even start off, whether it's 40 people or 20 people or whatever.
Okay.
Nikad se ne zna.
Oh, you never know. Look, you already got interest.
Ivan Špehar, a daska. Basically a daska with a rupa in it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's why it's a game for us.
There you go. Nick Rimac, we can work towards a state of origin, New South Wales versus Victoria.
Yeah, I know, it'd be amazing.
You know who's going to win that one. It all depends. We play union down here; they play league, so we'll have different rules where we can do the like in the butcher when you do the run up. Those wogs when they do the run up, and he literally stands on top of that bully and he fucking throws it down, and then the punch on start because some bloke just lost a yanya or a slab. So Tony sends his regards and thanks us for our tutorial on.
Well, that's your tutorial. I have no idea what's going on.
It is.
Monica also sent me a message earlier on that she forgot to plug Crow Parish are organising, and this is in Adelaide, organising a ball that is celebrating the 1100th anniversary of the Croatian Kingdom. It's intended for people all over Oz to join here in Adelaide. So more details are coming soon. So keep your eyes and ears open for that one. So actually sounds interesting. And you know what? We've done very little here in Australia to celebrate the 1100th anniversary of the crowning of King Tom.
Exactly right. So that's why talking about Miss Croatia, they took away the crown at one point. Maybe we bring the crown back just in that 1100th year of Kralj Tomislav. And whether he was crowned in Duvno or in Debeljak, that debate still lingers and persists. But we've got some evidence that
Where'd you get
the evidence I got it from my streets.
Yeah.
This bloke that is Starry Martin down there at the general store when they're having a few beers, and he reckons that Kralj Tomislav actually he rode through Duvno on the way to Debeljak.
Yes,
because there was an Airbnb, cheaper Airbnbs in Debeljak than they were in
lost
Duvno.
the crown in Duvno on the way to Debeljak.
And then they quickly grabbed it, and he was crowned down there. But others say Nin, others say Knin. But Duvno is the place. That's why it's called Tomislavgrad these days. And shout out to here we definitely.
At the end of the day, I was in Yates there.
But we definitely have to give a big, massive shout out to Rob Linnuts, the cornhole board maester. This is the bloke they say there was 16. Is that? I think was it more than 8 on either side? I think it was probably 16 on either side. There was that many cornhole boards that Rob Linnuts actually made himself. Wow. So he got absolutely inundated. He had to make some for me, which my brother-in-law brought down from Sydney. Then I bought a couple myself. But he's the bloke that made those cornhole boards.
Painted it, did all that.
I know he made them, and then Jakov organised the stickers, and then we spent that whole night before the cornhole competition just getting the bubbles out and trying to get them all on. But
they look incredible, yeah.
Oh, they're absolutely fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, where is it? We'll find it. Have a look at that. If we can do something like this, so it's just a nice vinyl sticker made to measure. You put it on. You start from the bottom. You probably need 3 or 4 people doing it per board.
But it looks fantastic.
It's amazing.
It's got a logo. It's got everything.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 16 boards Rob Linnuts made for that tournament with his own hands, with his own handiwork. Absolutely.
It's an unfortunate view, but it's...
depends what part of the Mediterranean you come from. But
true.
Don't forget Fish Night also this Friday at Dinamo, 7 p.m. Bookings are essential. Further details on social media. So Dinamo this Friday night, Fish Night. But it's always a big night there.
Whenever the food's fantastic as well.
Whenever they organise anything there at Dinamo, it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Yeah. It is absolutely huge. But in other Dinamo news, people would have seen during the week that Oliver Dragicevic has officially signed with Melbourne Victory. So young kid, 17 years old, doesn't turn 18 until October, who had an absolutely stellar season at Dinamo this year in the senior NPL competition. We had Ilya on earlier in the podcast in our first couple of episodes, But Ollie, I didn't put the photo up. Geez,
But no, there was a photo that you put up during the week where he was actually in the Podrum.
was
How-
here.
What happened there? You got to give us a bit of background
on Wednesday.
information
So
on that.
what happened last Sunday? Dynamo played their last home game of the season, and my youngest boy Tommy, who plays in the Dynamo under-8s, absolutely idolises Ollie. He thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Doesn't talk about Ronaldo, Messi, or any of those superstars that are international. He's got his idol basically up at Fox Street in St Albans. He made a sign which he held up at the end of the game against Hume on Sunday. And Ollie came over at the behest of his dad. So his dad was the one yelling at him to give him his jersey. Took off his jersey, gave it to Tommy. We got it signed afterwards. And it will be very, very shortly, in short time frame, it will be framed. But then during the week, Ollie needed the jersey for a photo shoot and an interview that he did with the Viesnik and with Melbourne Victory TV. So he and Ilya popped in on Wednesday night. And they were on their way to Northcote City to watch Melbourne Victory play a game. Okay. And he came down here and he wanted a photo in the Podrum, and it is on my socials if you want to have a look. And I think I popped it up on our Instagram page as well. So him and my youngest Tommy got a photo with that jersey here in the Podrum, and he's an avid viewer as well. So thank you to Ilya and Ollie for coming down during the week. And we did have a pecker that night. My cousin from overseas was down, and they turned up right at the right time. There was a pecker with plenty of yanyatina in there.
Perfect.
And Ollie smashed a fair bit of that yanyatina to keep up his strength so he can get ready and perform hopefully as best as he can for Melbourne Victory at the A-League level. But again, am I a fan of the A-League? No. Am I a fan of our people and our kids and our boys that are playing in the A-League men's and women's competitions? Yes. And hopefully it's a stepping stone for bigger and better things for Ollie. But yeah, he'll do our community proud. Dynamo definitely, but our community as a whole. Because if you watch that Hrvatski Viesnik interview with him, for a 17-year-old, he's a gentleman. You can just see the way he speaks, the way he conducts himself. Yeah. And that's why all the kids and everyone at Dynamo absolutely loves him. And we wish him every success at Melbourne Victory and also in any future endeavours that that take place after that.
And speaking about our boys playing and things, now Tony Popovich has called up, half a dozen Croatian players into the Socceroos squad?
Exactly.
They might actually start winning something. What do you reckon?
Mate,
or why wouldn't they? You know, like all these, they're all killing it. Kalik's doing well. Hajduk, Frank Karacic, he's actually killing it there. Now, who else has been called up there? I don't know.
I'm not sure if that's Segicic. Who's the one that's banging goals in the championship? Is it Segicic? He scored 2 or 3 already for Port. Is he at Portsmouth? Where is he?
No, boy.
Young Sydney. I think he's a Sydney boy. He had this morning. He's a again. But there's Crows doing great things. Aussie Crows especially. There was an interview again in the Viesnik this week with Joe Skoko, Noah and his brother,
that's right.
as well. That if you want to tune into the Viesnik Facebook page, you'll be able to see a 7-minute interview. I showed it to my parents today as well.
Great interview. Yep.
Exactly right. So Noah's at Hajduk, and he was on the team sheet this morning for the game against Rijeka, playing for the youth Croatian international teams at the moment. But no doubt, hopefully, we see him in a senior jersey one day. But yeah, Frank Karacic at Hajduk, Anthony Kalik getting a lot of game time this year compared to previous years. Who else you got? Yes, you've got Skoko. You've got 3 Crows at Hajduk at least, and you've got a couple in the championship. But there's another one that also popped up, pretty interesting one. Dundee United. Ivan Dolcek, I think his name is.
Really?
He was a Hajduk player who was loaned or sold or loaned to Slaven Belup or something. He's now gone to Scotland, currently top scorer in the Scottish Premier League. Scored again over the weekend for Dundee United in Derby against Dundee. So there's plenty. And we've got a qualifier coming up this week. I believe there's a qualifier this weekend. Croatia away, or is it Croatia at home to Faroe Islands or something like that, and then away to Montenegro. We've got 2 sort of back-to-back ones.
Okay.
Saturday, Sunday morning, and then
That's probably our hardest game.
And then Wednesday. If we can get those 2 wins, your real only hard competition will be the Czech game away.
Yeah.
Then the other games again are Gibraltar, Montenegro at home. You think we should hopefully, unlike in past campaigns,
hope so.
Leave it till the last game or playoffs and that sort of bullshit. Well, I think this time. Day Bože, we just go straight through and don't have to worry. And everyone can get to the, what's this for? World Cup?
This is World
in
Cup.
the USA.
Yeah.
You never know, man.
78 teams competing in this World Cup.
There you go.
I don't know how many is that up to.
I think it's 48 teams now.
48 teams. Okay.
Yeah, so give it a
So
couple
it'd
of
be a
years.
real shame if we actually didn't make it. To
Give
this
it a couple of years. The Republika Srpska might be in the qualifiers playing against Kosovo. And the autonomous Independent Republic of Vojvodina, I think,
Yes.
in a derby. They'll be in the group stages of the World Cup in in
I do say they'll be better
Ecuador.
at water polo there.
But
than
Tommy
football.
Gavron has noticed, as will no doubt many other people and probably the broadcasting regulators. I did light up before. I saw Jakov light up, so I go, you know what, why not?
Yeah, I saw that. It was
Zapali-
inspirational.
Zapali Edmund. Boys, have you seen in Crow the rise of Mali Nogomet in the villages and islands? 4v4 and 6v6. Unbelievable. There are some massive tournaments. Even when I was there in the 90s, I once travelled to a tournament in Široki Brijeg. I think the prize money was something like 40,000 Deutschmarks at the time. And we look at some of the teams that we had to play against or were potentially going to be put up against. We had Robert Prosnečki in one team. I think there was Robert Prosnečki, Igor Cvitanovic. It was half the Crow national team from a bygone era. Yeah. And then you had us peasants coming from further up the coast there. But but Mali Nogomet, if you jump online and that, you can see some of the festa that are happening there. You got in Zadar, I can speak for now, the Antonio Jurjevic, the humanitarian Mali Nogomet, the 4v4, 5v5, taking place as other at the moment. I think now it's down to the quarters. Massive crowds. I don't know if they've created a ground for it and grandstand scaffolds or something. It's quite ridiculous. But Dundee United, Ken Murphy's old team. If anyone remembers Ken Murphy, played for Melbourne Croatia and for Footscray Just.
Yeah. And he actually coached us.
He did coach us.
To a losing grand final against Adelaide City. We lost on pens. Could have won the game 5 times over. Another one that was after we lost to Hellas.
Exactly, and then he was unceremoniously sacked by Stanko Poljičak. And in that interview that he gave to SBS at the time, I remember he had his hands behind his back and he had his foot sort of rolling around in the red gravel. He goes, "We no sack him, we give him your team job." That was good times.
Yeah,
Dave Mlikota asked,
because it was professionalism that brought Melbourne Croatia to the forefront of.
Exactly, Jakov, were your bags bought or homemade? I'm trying to make my own. I'd say they were bought.
Those bags. Where do you get those bags? Like you said, you used to use them for rounders and all those other things. You used to have always been every primary school. But actually, I haven't seen one.
The 2 boards, I bought 2 proper boards. It's a brand called Genjo, and they come with the bag. You get a bag, the 2 boards, the fold up, and the 4 bags, or each color, red and blue. But no doubt you can just go online somewhere and there'll be some American website selling just the bags on their own official size, because Jakov did everything, official measurements between boards, the board sizes, the bag weights, everything.
Well, surely at Temu you can get 100 of them for $10. I don't know. John Bilosh was saying, like in the competition, you can have Mršovi versus Debeli. Debeli can be 100 kilos
plus.
And then the Mršovi, I don't know if you have enough Mršovi though.
No, not too many going around these days. No. But and it will make really no difference. No matter how big, small, tall,
you just got to break it up in some way.
Exactly right. You can. It's a game pretty much for everyone, and I'll tell you what, it's plenty of fun, and very specific specifications. They are very specific specs, and we had to weigh some of Jakov's bags before the competition because we thought he might be playing
cheating the system,
playing funny buggers. Ali, all good, but fantastic. I reckon tonight's guests were pretty damn good. Yeah?
And that was a little bit different. It was good to have a female perspective. We can't help but being male centric, here and our interests and everything. But it is a pertinent topic, and again, what wasn't brought up there to have a go at anyone. It's just about, well, let's look at maybe some of the mistakes that everyone's made, and all the clubs came together and the majority voted to take it out, but didn't replace it. Well, maybe it needs to be replaced. It's something. It's a conversation that needs to happen. That's it. Simple as that.
Thinking outside the box.
That's
so
right.
Things that worked in the past may have stopped working for whatever reason, got stale or got whatever.
That's right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's now try and not reinvent the wheel, try and bring it back to how it was in 1987 when I was selling raffle tickets at Olympic Park. Maybe there's a different way forward, and we can introduce something else. Again, anything that will attract people, whether they are new people or people that have disengaged from the community, can only help. Yeah.
Well, look at the boys from Greystones. They were talking about the folklore festival that happened. Said it was better than any soccer tournament they've ever been to. Now that's debatable, and whatever. That's a relative thing. Who thinks which one's better? The thing was, it was a very successful tournament. If someone told you 5 years ago, there'll be a folklore festival, it's going to rival the tournament, you would have told them they're nuts.
Yep.
So it's about perspective. It's about inclusion. It's about broadening our horizons and our scope in what can and cannot be done in our community. That's it. Simple as that.
Exactly right. Just checking any last messages before we start getting messages ourselves.
Against Faroe Islands, Tony Grigich said 4:45 Saturday morning. That's a heavyweight competition there, and then versus the Montenegrins at 4:45 on Tuesday morning.
There you go. So,
So-
the Red Croats will be
That's right.
hosting the White
That's
Croats.
right. Dukljani.
That's
The
right.
Dukljani versus Croatia.
So I think the Boka Kotovska Torcida will be out in force supporting the homeland.
Yeah, of
But
course. Yeah,
my
everyone from
brother-in-law
Herceg-Novi.
Ante Peric has sent through a interesting suggestion. You might have to introduce a Podroom of the Week competition.
Yeah.
Get people to send in photos of their Podroom,
Okay.
and I'll send one of the old man in his Podroom. So we can start with that one. So Ned, you can send in Ned's Podroom first, and then we can have people, if you want to send in your photos of your Podroom footage, whatever it might be.
100%.
Or if you want to call, like we said, man, we encourage anyone and everyone. If you want a link to come onto the show yourself, for whatever reason, whatever you want to talk about, tell us. We can't do talk back as such, but we can send you the link. And like Jakov and Anton, or like Monica and Belinda, you can just log straight in, tell us what you think.
And then you know what? You could actually grow into what would be the product, the best product from your Podroom. Could be kobasice, prosciutti, and vino. Like there was one idea I had many years ago when Oktoberfest started. I said it should be around Sveti Martin because it would be for Martinovo where you can have a wine competition. Everyone comes to, and that's sort of a very traditional thing where they could have a contest about wine for Martinovo where you come in and we can all be the judges of it. That's coming from your Podroom or whether it's kobasice and prosciutti and whatever. Yeah, Sidovi, I don't know what else you're going to be
Exactly.
doing.
With the sirke, I don't know if you can see it here. You can see mine.
Yeah.
You got that.
Here we go.
Look at this monster. Look at that. The best acrylic cheese ever made.
Like imagine that as a competition. Imagine you go and on one day, everyone's out there, you're tasting everyone's kobasice and, oh, that sounded really bad, but prosciutto and vino and whatever, or even rakia. What a day. That's 1,000 people come out today.
I couldn't think of anything better
Come
than
in with
tasting. That'll be possibly one of the greatest weekends, but that's more a Sydney thing. I think maybe not in Greystanes, maybe more around Oxford Street.
Maybe.
They have the kobasice tasting competition somewhere around March, I think it is. But Yuri Andrea has said the Red Croats, coached by Prosinecki. So no more.
Oh, there you go.
He's the reddest. He's the reddest of Red Croats.
Yeah, well, he's more žuti, but
Žut, he's more crven than žut. Like that, bloke. What else we?
But
got?
anyway, I reckon that will be a massive event that could happen. You know, there's so many people that make kobasice and prosciutti and wines. Even the wines, the quality of wines has grown exponentially in the last 20 years. They're no longer drinking that, you know, that otsat that they used to create. That was only good for kupu salato. Now it's like actually some decent wines. I know my Pokoni brother-in-law, I used to love his wines. He made some great ones. So, you know, anyway, there's a food for thought.
Fascinating. Ante Shesto says, if you're not a Rimac in Livno, you're related to one. I have first cousins Rimacs from Livno. And then we have here, what's this one? Blue Cow, Roblox. You can purchase them from Heart Sport. So the bean bags or the bags that we're talking about for cornhole, Heart Sport. I think they're an Aussie company. Yeah, I bought a lot of stuff from Heart Sport. There's all sorts of soccer goals and cones and stuff you can buy from there. So Heart Sport, look them up. Heart Sport, I think it's probably heart.com or .au or something like that. You'll be able to buy just the bags on their own if you're happy to make the cornhole board yourself and kit it out. I was thinking of painting mine, but I think doing those vinyl stickers is a lot easier than painting.
You got to get them right. That size has got to be right and all of that. So that's
exactly right.
But maybe everyone's got their own. No, you can't. It has to be standardised, doesn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. But if they're all standard and everyone brings them along, you never know. Melbourne, Adelaide, WA,
could grow into
Queensland, ACT.
It's all an excuse to come in together and you know celebrate being us.
Cornhole tournament, because soccer tournament only goes up to over 45s. So I reckon once, give it another 10 years, we have a cornhole addition, an appendix to the Crow soccer tournament. And on the side, we have a cornhole competition as well. And who knows, mate, we might get even a bigger influx of people coming interstate to participate in the cornhole competition as well.
Talking about over 45s playing nogomet of any sort, our hearts and our prayers go out to Luke Stoitzer, who injured himself over the weekend, couldn't come into work today because he's over 45 and decides he reckons he's got to play football.
Who did he play for?
Nemam pojma.
Nije to za tebe, sinko. Ostavi se toga.
Okani se ti nogometa.
Yeah. I've been having a bit of a kick with the Wednesday nights. Funnily enough, they train on a Thursday at Dinamo, but it's more about the drinking and eating afterwards in the club rooms than it is about the football. But there was one injury. There was one injury last week, not this past week, but the week before. There was one injury to Karl Rajic, who did his calf, but I'm pretty sure he came back on Thursday and trained anyway. So injuries at this age, a bit of Denkarab, malo rakije i sve je dobro. And Davor Movric was handing out the rakia in the change room before training on Thursday. So I think any injuries anyone had or any niggles, they went away
up the blood
very, very quickly. You don't have to do the doggies or the running in and out of cones.
No.
In between.
Oh, waste of time. Waste of energy. Oh, that could be used in the game.
Exactly right. Popi jedno i sve je dobro. All right, Spolge, what do you reckon?
I reckon I had a good time.
I had a great time.
I have a great time every Monday, whether you do or not. I mean, that's I hope you do. But
make sure. Let me use this again. I didn't waste my time ripping this off Facebook. Like,
share,
subscribe,
share, like, subscribe,
and ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
shibai.
Get the news out there. The more people that get involved, the more we can do, and we can. And if, like, once again, if you've got any ideas about who we can interview or who you'd like to see us or hear us interview, shoot it across. Even if there's someone overseas, someone that we can maybe gun for, we can try and use our network to get to that person. If there's someone you'd love to, see us interview and get an Aussie Croat perspective on, their life and that, please let us know.
That's the one. So everyone jump on board during the week. You'll see at the end of this week, Croatia versus Faroe Islands, and then Crna Gora on Tuesday morning of next week. So 2 big games coming up for the national team. If you're thinking of going to the US, Canada, or Mexico next year for the World Cup, these games are pretty important. So jump on board. And like we said, Sydney United playing on Wednesday night, 7:30 at Marconi. Dandy City playing as well this weekend against Avondale, who are some of the heavy favourites for the NPL title. They got knocked out of the Australia Cup last night in the semi-final against Newcastle. But Heidelberg, who is, again, probably 5 minutes from my joint, we do have one Victorian NPL representative. So, to be honest, I'm not a fan of Heidelberg.
I was happy to see him win, though.
But I'd like to see Heidelberg win the whole thing, just to show that Australian soccer from NPL to A-League, there's not much of a muchness.
Peter Finka, is there a Richard update? There's one. That's one we've got to get an interview.
I did send something off to one Richard page, whether it's his official one or not. It's the Enio Mestrovic official page that I found somewhere on Instagram or whatever. Haven't heard back yet. I also sent one out to Kuzma and Shaka Zulu. Do you know Kuzma and Shaka Zulu?
I only know about Kuzma and Shaka Zulu because you had that tape. I remember when we were going to Adelaide and put in Božožanko's car.
And that is why I emailed them saying that I brought your tape back in 1995, and basically the reason I know Crow as well as I do is because I listened to that tape for 1.5 years every day, all day. And I said, if I can sing along with these guys who are singing in some split dialect, half rap, half I don't even know what it was, and I've reached out to them because they are a couple of characters from Split as well.
Actually, on that same day that you introduced me to Shaka Zulu, and Kuzma, of course, introduced me to Hladno Pivo.
Oh, yes.
And not the drink, but the actual band, which I ended up loving for a long time. But
till recent times.
And we won't even go into. Well, I think we all know why.
But we've got Mark Malik as well. Love your work, boys. Milutin Kekin.
Oh yeah, he's some of his investments in this Crystal Boys.
Correct. And I think even the apartment that lives in Zagreb is possibly being repossessed from people after 1945 as well. So
I have no doubt.
But Mark Malik, love your work, boys. Big shout out. So thank you very much. And we're thinking actually over the next month or so, I reckon I'll reach out to your brother Chris over there in Zagreb as well, who is the head of the Foreign Volunteers Association over in Croatia as well. So and he was also a band member of Slatki's San.
He was.
From what I remember back in the day, before the predecessor to Major Minor, Slatki's San. Chris Malik was he a bass player? Was he a guitarist, bass player, drummer? I think bass. I think maybe bass. But Foreign Volunteers chief over there. So he's quite prolific also on social media. Jump on, have a look at some of his work that he does over there in Croatia as well as a Dragovoljac Domovinskog rata, and also in his work after the rat in trying to get all those foreign volunteers together to obviously commemorate and celebrate their contribution to the independence of our homeland over there.
Speaking about Branitelj as well, there was a little interview that Mickey C was on Mention Your List. I don't know if you saw
No, I
that.
haven't
They'll
seen
ask you about that documentary in Benkovac that was banned, and somehow they found him there at Trg Bana Jelačića, the old Trg Republike. And got his opinion, and I'm not sure if he even understood the question. But anyway, no, he did well. He actually did really well with his answer, being very diplomatic as he usually is.
There you go. Tony Grgic has confirmed
Bass player.
Chris Malik was the bass player, and that was probably one of the most iconic recorded albums, I guess you'd call it, globally for our diaspora.
yes,
I think that
absolutely.
tape went back with My Streets probably about 86. My Streets took that tape back. Obviously, it was contraband, and you had to play it in secret. But he took back the official, the Slatki San tape, which had some iconic tunes on
absolutely.
there.
I think you can still find him on Facebook because Pokojni Stjepan set up a Slatki San page, I think, and then he was sharing those links. Not sure if that's still on Facebook, but it might be. It's worth checking out for sure. Like you said, some of those iconic tunes that Selks was lent his dulcet tones to.
That's exactly right. But yeah, that was some of those tunes that we grew up singing at every festa function, whatever it might have been, if you didn't see them live.
Yeah.
And then they also had a little vinyl record that they released. There was a two-sided, two songs, I think, one on either side. Little black vinyl.
The panther on it.
It did have a panther on it,
Yeah.
which I won on the first ever pilot episode of Hrvatski program 3ZZZ. There was a call-in. You had to call in. If you were the first caller, you win a prize. And one of those prizes was that Slatki San little, what is it, a 7-inch? Is that what they call them? The 7-inch?
Oh, with the 7 inches, yes.
Yeah, I won that. I won a St. Albans Dynamo JMJ hardware jersey.
Yep.
And I think it was a voucher to the Dom. So I rang in and I won all three prizes. So if there's any audio of the first ever 3ZZZ pilot program, I'm pretty sure I won all three prizes.
Oh, Peter Fink is coming out with some excellent suggestions. The other one is a very, very popular blogger, if you would call him that, and that is Krule.
Blogger Krule. I just received his book. So my cousin went and saw him in, I think it was Ogulin. I'm not exactly sure where they went to watch him live, just now recently, only in the last couple of months. And he's got a book. He obviously releases these books with jokes, and I've got it upstairs. So it was given to me by my cousin and my and my kumovi, and she's my cousin as well, Stephen Mare. They brought that book back, so I've got to flick through that and have a look at some of the jokes, but absolute character as well.
Excellent. That's actually a great YouTube episode if you're into your food. Fat Man Chef. I don't know if anyone ever has seen Fat Man Chef on YouTube. He's up there near Vrbovec or something there near Zagreb, I think, and he does all these outdoor cooking shows with peckers and all sorts of other wonderful things, goulashes and things. And he had Krule on the show, so it's a perfect one to have a look at.
Let me just see if we can get a closer look at that picture. I don't know how. It's Vinko Buljubasic, Melbourne Knights premiership player with Richard.
No way.
If you can see there. So
No
Vinko
way.
got a photo. Vinko looks all right. Richard looks a bit sweaty in that photo. So I don't know what you were doing in that photo, Vinko.
Vinko looks a bit heated as well. But not quite as hot.
Vinko red in the face, and Richard's a bit sweaty. And I don't know, it looks like...
Yeah.
Pozdrav Small, Richard and Vinko. There you go.
That's amazing. There you go.
So what else we got here? Yakov. Shout out to Steve-O from Rose, who brought back the also, if you can see the horse scarf in the background, that was another gift that was brought here, and the Thompson t-shirt, and a whole lot of other fantastic gifts from our Kumovi Dropulic out there. But here we've got, replying to Maria Marasvic Mlinac. Maria, so many things going through my head. Forgot to mention Rob. He's the real king of the day, deputy commissioner, who did make all of those cornhole boards for the United Cup. Absolutely amazing. And he made a couple for myself as well. So can't thank him enough for his contribution to that absolutely magnificent event that they organise out there. But like I said, man, even the neighbours, they were just gobsmacked. They're going, what on earth is going on at this local park, Greystanes Recreation Reserve? I think they wrote something like, they've got these rissoles that they're cooking on this barbecue. Now, they'll talk about cevape because basically they are rissoles.
Yeah. Reminds me of the neighbours near St Albans.
Someone said,
when
why don't
the
you
tournament
reach
was
out?
on.
Why don't you reach out to Ante Babic in Croatia to see if you can get some airtime with Mate Rimac to talk about future automotive? So, is it Ante or Mario Babic you're talking about? I think it might be Mario that works for Rimac Automobili. Definitely one. I did apply for a job at Rimac once. He was looking for a personal assistant, I think it was. So Mario's probably going to have a laugh. He probably saw the resume that I sent in and the cover letter. But I said, I'm happy to work for fucking nothing if I could go and give me. I was during COVID, I reckon. Obviously, get me the hell out of this joint. It wasn't like Greystanes where you can go play soccer with your bloody cousins and that. We couldn't leave our house between 5 a.m. and or whatever it was, 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning. So,
well, Mario will be a great interview just in himself.
Exactly
and then, and his experience there with Rimac, and then he had decades of experience there at Toyota and went back over and he's doing it now for Croatia. You know, at Rimac. So good on him. Yeah, I'd love to have Mario on for sure.
No,
and talk about his experience taking the whole family back over there
any-
from Altona North to all the way over to Sveta Nedlja.
Exactly right. So any other suggestions you've got, we'll try. But Ante Radmanic, like you said, he mentioned the consulate to talk a little bit about citizenship and how to get it. You know, because look, you do need a lot of translating potentially
100%.
that needs to happen. Then it needs to go and get a punomoć. Or no, actually, first and foremost, you need to get an apostille. So it's a stamp from Foreign Affairs, which confirms that the document that you've got is officially an Australian document. Then you get it translated. Then you bring it to the consulate amongst other documents, whether it's a birth certificate, marriage certificate, parents' marriage certificate, because sometimes you need to prove who your parents are, because you're not technically Crow. Your parents need to be Crow. So you need to prove all of these things. There used to be a test. I think
That's what I was going to ask. Do they still have that?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But see, the funny thing, I put in for citizenship for Rose and for my older boy Marco on the same day. We put in the documents on the same day.
Yeah.
Marco got his within, I think it was about 5 weeks, and that was over Christmas. Christmas, New Year's, 5 weeks, turnaround, bang, turned up.
That's like overnight in Croatia.
Yep. Rose took 3 years. 3 years. That's saying something.
That's like 2 weeks in Croatia.
No, they need to dig a little bit deeper. They need to dig a little bit deeper for Rose, but no, but because Rose's parents are born just over the current borders in Herzegovina, they didn't quite recognise it, so we needed to find some further evidence of her mum's school report from grade 4, her dad's Vojna knjižica, where it says Hrvat or something, and we eventually got it over the line. So now all 4 kids and Rose and I have all got the citizenship. But it's not exactly the
easiest thing in the world to do.
Yep. Here we go. Someone's saying we want Travis Kelce. Is that his name? Taylor Swift's boyfriend, Anya Nash.
Well, apparently he came out on his own podcast saying that he found, well, you can see from his surname. He's got a Croatian surname there, I think.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm sure he's just can't wait to get on our podcast to talk about gridiron. I can't wait to talk about gridiron either.
Kels, maybe he's a Kelic. Maybe Kels. Yeah, Kels. Yeah, they shortened it from Kelic to Kels. He's also from Livno. There's Livno. He seemed to be just coming out of the. What about what's his name? Bill Belichick, whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Maybe we'll get his girlfriend on the show for an interview.
Yeah, I'd probably prefer to interview her. I think it'd be more interesting for me. Anyway, but no, you're right. There's so many people that we can interview.
Yeah, plenty. So we'll have Brando Pericic, I think, the UFC fighter, after his fight. When is that fight? Is that this month or next? I don't know if it was the 28th of August. I think it's 26th of September or something like that. But after that, we should be able to get him on the show. So he'll be debuting in the UFC officially. Another Crow. I think there's 4 now in there, but he's an Adelaide boy.
Yeah.
So we'll get him. Here we go. Marty Raspudic. Would be great to hear from Damir Markuš and his opinion on the growing support of the young towards the right. So Damir Markuš, if you all know Damir Markuš Kutina is his name.
He's got an interesting brickoy.
He does. He's Hosovac, who fought in Vukovar and has very, very strong links with Australia and particularly with St. Albans Vukovar. And if you ever watch Bujica, I'm not sure what's that TV state, but you can watch him. Just go YouTube and look up Bujica. Whenever Damir Markuš is on screen, he's usually wearing a St. Albans Vukovar jersey, jacket, jumper, whatever, because Marty and the boys there always send him some merch so that he can advertise St. Albans Vukovar and also the links between Australia and Croatia. But yeah, Damir Kutina would be a fantastic one to have on as well. But definitely, Marty, we'll have a look at that one. Andrew Bogut, I think I might have reached out to Andrew some point via Instagram, but some of these things, look, even I struggle to read messages on Instagram, comments and stuff. Yes, messages. I'm only new to Instagram, but we can try. Some of the Dandy or Southeast Crows might be able to get us onto Andrew Bogut. That'll be fantastic. Even isn't Andrew Vlahov from Perth Wildcats? He was Crow, wasn't he?
No, apparently, yeah, I remember him.
We have Frank Drimich, who was a basketballer in
Yeah,
Australia
there
as
you
well.
go. There's another one.
Travis is now Tay-Tay's fiance. Ooh, Zaruke.
Wow.
Maybe
Incredible.
I reckon he may need to have his Bucks night at Caulfield Racecourse. First at Stabber's Factory, then at Caulfield Racecourse, followed by a Dandy City game, and ending up at Inflations. What do you reckon, Travis Kels? Would Taylor Swift let him fly down to Melbourne for a Bucks night like that?
Oh, no, she wouldn't.
Because I saw a couple of the boys who were at that Bucks night on the weekend, on Sunday morning. Mickey Covell, the drummer from Mora.
Yes, yep.
And Julie Kolchek, who often jumps on stage and sings.
And backs you up.
That's right. He was my I'm a guitar lover. Here's my Richie Sambora at the Dinamo Gala.
Here's your Richie to your John Bond.
Very, very dusty. Mick did turn up early and help me put the goals out. Julia turned up very late and spoke very little. So must have been one hell of a Bucks night out there. It was a coming together of the southeast and the west of Melbourne.
Yeah.
A big family in the Jurjevic family, who are also obviously first cousins with the Kolcheks, who are a massive family. With Stabber and everyone down at the southeast. Unfortunately for them, they're going to miss the tourney because the wedding is on the same weekend, and you'll be playing at that wedding,
correct?
Not at the tourney.
No.
So, it'll be no doubt either way. It's going to be a sick
a
ass
similar
wedding.
amount of people at both events.
Pretty much, you got about 5,000 people in the marquee down at. Where is the actual? Where's the reception?
I don't know.
Is it
what's to say?
in the west? Is it in the west?
Is in the west. Yeah, very prominent.
So we can't invite you like we invited you to the cornhole competition. But
yeah, you never know.
All right.
But
Anything
people
else?
approaching us all the time. Go, look, you see you there all the time. Like I say, I see you major minor, see you on PodroomTV or whatever. What do you do for a living? Okay, I do my best.
I'm hanging for a smoke, Roosevelt. But do you want to play the press conference one more time?
I think the press conference is
Let's have a look at the
very
press
apt
conference.
way of ending the prize.
Ljudi moji, laku noć. It's been again once an absolute pleasure. We'll see you all next week. We'll announce our guests as we figure out who they'll be. And whoever agrees to come on, it'll be absolutely fantastic. But thank you to our guests tonight, Monica and Belinda from Adelaide, Jakov and Anton from Sydney out there in Greystones, 2145 represent. We look forward to seeing you all next week. And any feedback, any criticism, whatever you got, flick it our way. We're happy to hear it, and we'll do our best to either fix what we can or add to what we're already contributing if we can. Jakobanovic, there's another one we can add.
Yes,
that'll be fantastic. Good interview. First Crow export to English football, one of my absolute idols. Growing up, I got to have a drink with him at the Adelaide Cass at the tourney when he was in
boots.
I got to buy boots from him, which he delivered to my teta's house in person. The Theodora Zico's, what a gentleman. And again, was quite prolific there in Whyalla after he
still is there, I think.
Still is, unity, someone said, positive unity in the Crow community.
Yes.
There's Dennis Dene also, this is one that he did send through during the week. A lot of us that are listening here are members of our local clubs, folklore, church, whatever it might be. Some of us are members of Hajduk Split, Dinamo Zagreb, Osijek, or whatever. Dennis did say, if you are in the, if you're able to buy a membership for HNK Vukovar, right? So that's probably everyone's second team. If you're a Hajduk fanatic or a Dinamo fanatic or Osijek or whoever you support, our second team, just like everyone supports the Footscray Bulldogs here in Melbourne. If you're Barry for Collingwood, you always want the Bullies to win. Vukovar. There is, I think, the appropriate channels where you can buy a membership. But if you can, why not help out Vukovar? They don't have a home ground at the moment that they're allowed to play at. They're playing out of Vinkovci.
That's right.
So any contribution to Vukovar, and hopefully they stay up. They've got 2 points already. They are bottom of the ladder at the moment, but 2 points is 2 points. Hopefully they can stay up and from that build on, get a stadium, and then can be play at home, and that'll be fantastic. There's also talk of Thompson doing a concert there next year. But if you are able to, and we can probably share on the socials, I'll get the details that Dennis sent through to me. We'll flick it. We'll put it up on the socials. And if you can buy a membership for HNK Vukovar, why not? You know, it's it all helps, and they need everything that they can get for us to help them out.
Yeah.
All right, Sponge.
Sure. Good show.
Either Makuchi to get yelled at. Svima dobro. We'll be back next week. Except you'll notice if you can see the ring on, it's all good. But I drink with my right hand, so if next week if I've got my hand behind my back, it's probably for a reason. But we'll finish off with that clip from the press conference once again for everybody. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all your support. We love it. Yeah, we haven't even drank that much. We had a couple of beers and one shot of Palinko. It's not like it's
No. I'm just waiting for the press conference. It's already making me laugh even before it's coming.
Ljudi moji, laku noć. Going a bit over time. Oh, no, it's 9:55, not too bad.
No,
Look, I'm technically still unemployed. I'm still waiting on the call to start work, but
You're doing your best.
Doing my best with what I've got. But let's finish off with the press conference. Laku noć from PodroomTV. We look forward to seeing you all soon.
Leave pozdrav.
Don't say that because that irritates me and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that. Don't you dare say that. My family have been in this country for 140 years, right? So if you say anything like that, I have on many occasions punched.
Kad zapievam partija